Sleeping, seeing beachfront views. Trying to wake up, hit snooze. Don't wanna get back to my 9 to 5. Just wanna start dreaming, let me close my eyes. But I gotta get the fuck up, chase my dreams while I'm woke. Cause I'm so tired of being broke. Think I need a smoke, don't usually do it. Need to find hope going through it. Never losing track where I'm going. And I'm always growing from every mistake I make. I know I can't trust every hand I shake. Cause I try to leech off every bend I make. USA, also known as the land of snakes. Gotta assess everybody as they friend or fake. Had some people close to me and my money they take. Thank you for the lesson. Now it's fuck you, I ain't stressing. Eyes closed, living from the sideline. No talking, I'ma do it, bitch, it's my time. Everything swerving, driving off of my tie. But I'm cool as can be, look at my eyes. These some pictures you can't put up on your timeline. More vivid than the NYC skyline. Some crazy shit you can't imagine on the iPhone. You just coming for a trip.
What is good, everybody? What is good? Welcome, of course, to another episode of Opinionated with yours truly. I, of course, am your host, Resla, and I hope that you guys have actually been having a pretty good day today. Today, we're going to be diving deep into something I think everyone thinks that they practice, but not always quite well. And that is pretty much the civility within conversations. Now, hold up, let me move my mouse to the side. Hold up. I know this sounds like it's all about manners and keeping things polite. But trust me, it's more than that. It goes deeper than that. I think that we're talking about how civility basically affects everyone. And when I say everyone, I mean our friendships, I mean our work, and yes, even our arguments on social media. So I think we need to have a conversation about that. We need to really talk about the value of civility. And oh shoot, wait. Guys, give me a quick sec. I actually have to take this quick call real quick. This right when I get on. Hold on. Okay, back. That came in the worst time. uh so let's talk about basically about how people view civility. And I think when we're getting to the whole act of civility, we have to think about it and how it affects our work, how it affects our friendships that we have with one another, and of course also how we look at civility when it's being used in social media and whether it's even used pretty properly. Now, oh yeah, I was saying the value of civility. And I think this is something that we need to really break down and we need to get into it. But before we do, I, of course, am going to thank everybody who already walked into the building. Thank you for actually showing up for this episode over here on Opinionated. And of course, you had the lovely Yvette who came in first, strong into the building. Sky Angel is here. Thank you. Thank you for actually showing up. No Chaser popped in. I appreciate you, my guy. Oh shit, we got Carpenter's Journey up in here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh, and Caucasian Sasquatch is walking to the building as well. Thank you. And Slime Not. That's fair enough. And Locksmith Jeremy already up in here. And of course, as everybody starts piling into the building, do me a favor, guys, hit that like button. And of course, say hi to one another. We're going to be taking this little bit of a ride into this conversation. All right, so let's get started with the basics. Why basically civility is important. I mean, can we all just say that we can just say whatever we want and let everyone else deal with it? Some people will argue that they shouldn't have to sugarcoat things, but there's a fine line here. just because you're being real doesn't necessarily give you a free pass to believe that you can shit on anyone else's opinions or possibly even their feelings. You should think about that for a moment. Civility in its own right actually allows us to have more effective communication. Imagine you're debating a tough issue. If you start yelling or throwing personal jabs, that's it. People tend to shut down, people tend to stop listening, or worse, people start acting emotionally. They start reacting emotionally. And suddenly, it's not about the topic anymore. Not even a little bit. You know what it becomes about, folks? All about the W. That's all it becomes about. First and foremost, end of everything. That's all it's about. Let's talk about also when you have people that you know who are kind of in this bubble, this area, which I'm going to be calling the angry friend syndrome. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story, and probably it's one that you can relate to. Let's just say you have a friend who every time they disagree, they get louder, they get more aggressive. It's like they think somewhere in their mind, the louder I am, the more I must be right. Right or right. And you're just trying to keep it chill. But you're just trying to have the conversation and not trying to have competition. For a lot of people, that can be very much frustrating. And eventually, you just stop talking to people like that. You know, the whole friendship might even begin to fade. And that's exactly what incivility does. It damages relationships. And when we're not being careful, this habit, it doesn't get any better. It doesn't stay in one place even. It tends to seep into everyday things if we're not paying attention to it. So let's just do a little bit of digging. What is the real reason behind incivility? Let's think about that. Now, if I'm trying to unpack this, I would try to wonder why so many people fall into this trap of being uncivil in the first place. Why can't they just keep their shit together? I think a big part of it is emotional reactivity. I mean, when you're so heated about a particular topic or, particular subject, and logic goes right out the window, and you just want to react to what you just heard. When rational thinking is just gone, and boom, you said something you probably shouldn't have said, and now, folks, you can't take it back. But that's going to be my little bit of a thing right now. I guess I got a question for you guys, since I haven't asked a question for you guys yet, and I wanna know what you're thinking here in the chat. Who here has that one particular topic that boom, it'll just set you off. It just makes you go off. Could you let me know what that is in the chat? What's your pet peeve topic that will immediately get you rattled, or immediately just get you hyped? For some people, it's relationships. For some people, it is divorce. For some people, it's politics. I mean, let's keep it a buck here. What's that thing that tends to set you off very quickly, even though you know that you should get better at it? And I'll sift through the chats real quick while you guys start telling me what's your biggest annoying topic. Okay. You said you refuse to you refuse to engage and feel like, hey, that's all. That's a good strategy. Sipping, what's going on? Jess, you're in here too. Hey, welcome. So you like to think about things before. Okay, uh, that's a good strategy. But like, imagine this is your friend. Do you really have to monitor? Do you really think that you should feel like you have to monitor everything with your friend? But at the same time, you know this is your friend, so I guess you have to really think about whatever you want to talk about with your friend. But I thought when we had our friends, we should be able to have these comfortable conversations with everybody. Well, with those particular people. And now we got to monitor what we say to these particular people. So how much of a friend are they? I guess is the next question for that one. That's for you, Sippin. Family court system. Okay, that's a big thing for people. Family custody is right there next to divorce. Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. So let's talk about the double standards of civility versus hypocrisy. And I think here's where things are going to get a little bit dicey in conversation. Sasquatch, you said, hold on. That's okay. All right. YouTube jump. That's funny. Publicly shaming. Hmm. So okay, so CJ, you make a distinction between shaming and ball busting. Could you give me an instance of that? Because I will say there's some things that some people consider ball busting that I have seen as just flat out shaming, but you're saying that I think a lot of people don't really know the difference in that. Now I'll be one in saying that I might even conflate the difference from time to time. Because I mean people get ball busted even in public. And vice versa shaming. I mean, I guess it's really the extent of what the situation is. No, I think it's a difference between I don't even know because I was about to say make a difference between business and friendship, but at the same time, it could go either way. So yeah, I don't know. Hmm. I have to think about that one. If you got a great comparisons with that, I'd like to hear it. I would like to really break down the distinction of that in your own assessment, of course. All right, so the double edged sword because a lot of people don't think about the hypocrisy when it comes to that. Take your time. Um, and I think this is the thing that a lot of people may start getting a little bit antsy about. And I'm gonna just say you should really take some time to think about it if you feel like you're falling somewhere in this, because I think in some instance or another, I think a lot of us have done some particular things, or we know somebody who's done a particular thing. But when it comes to the idea of this thing with hypocrisy, we gotta first cover entitlement, absolute entitlement, because I think we've all seen it. Now, what exactly do I mean? I mean, people are exactly, or rather, people expect others to be able to listen to them, listen to their stories, listen to their passionate ass rants. But here's where the tables turn. They don't extend the same courtesy in retrospect. They want their opinions to be sacred, untouchable, but won't give the same courtesy to other people. It's like, I'm allowed to be rude because I believe that my opinion matters more. And honestly, that's a double standard. It absolutely is. And let's just keep it a buck here for a moment. When people tend to have this attitude, it's almost borderline narcissism. I talked a little bit about narcissism before in the past. Now, I'm not saying that everyone who is uncivil is a narcissist. Not at all. Now I got a fire truck that's on its way. But I want to say that there are parallels. There are parallels, and I think the entitlement, the lack of empathy, the I am always right mindset, it all lines up. And in our own world of constant online debates, this behavior is only getting more and more common. And I guess we should really talk about that, how civility breaks down online. Before that, I see CJ got something up here. There seems to be the back and forth between working men all together is normal. If I have no work, amp the powerful people or women. I have to think about that, because I think some people might actually do the same thing if it's a woman on woman, and then the it wouldn't be much of a difference in that. But let me think about it. Leopard, what's going on? All right. So what was I saying? Oh, we're talking about online. So let's break that down a little bit. Now, on social media, I like to talk about social media. Social media has always been its own beast all of itself. But I think the entire thing when it comes to people being anonymous, right? When it comes to people being anonymous, when it comes to the distance, because we're all over the world, we're on different coasts, we're across seas, all that stuff. People people tend to say things that they would never say if they were face to face. And this particular thing is called, what the hell is that? Oh, sorry, I thought I heard screeching. Uh, and it's basically called disinhibitions. So you've got people out there who are basically either they're typing really hard or they're saying particular things. And let's just be real, there are plenty of those people that, as much as they talk, they wouldn't really be inclined to say those particular things in person. And the problem is, there are a lot of people who have to deal with these things, whether you are on the receiving or whether you are on the speaking end. They're not really feeling the impact of these particular words. And it's because, like, there's no instant reaction, especially if you're not a person who's like on camera. There's no instant reaction because there's no body language to read. And if you're a person who gets online, if you show your face, that is, there's no facial expressions, and really there's nothing else to give. It's just pretty much words on a screen. So I guess here's a question for you all. How many of you have been in an online argument and you felt yourself getting way more fired up than you would have if you were in person? I know it's happened to me. If that's happened to you, do me a favor, guys. Type yes in the chat. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's one instance. I can go with that. Ron, what's going on? Not that Christine, what's going on? All right. As long as Sippin knows, it's fine. So the question, Sippin, is, have you ever found yourself, or rather, have you ever been in a situation where you're online, in an online argument, where you feel yourself pretty much getting fired up and you know that you wouldn't be doing that if you were in person? If anyone's gone through that, just type yes. So Ron says yes. Locksmith says yes. Lauren with the yes. No one else up here? Come on now. Y'all saying y'all stay measured all the time? There's no contradiction. No, you're just parallel all the time, regardless if it's online or not. Come on now. Keep it real. Yeah, Fight Club will definitely do that to people. For sure. Yeah, Leopard says yes. She said, yeah, I think yes. Not a Discord gangster. You're so full of shit, B-baller. I don't believe ya. Say you always yelling at somebody. Listen, on who it is. That's fair. That's fair. Sometimes I just think it's not a matter of who it is, or rather, what's the what's the conversation about, or how far along the measure of the conversation is. That's pretty much the way I think about that one. So yeah, I can go with that. All right. So since I've already brought up that this could be particularly a factor of narcissism, I think I should really get a little bit more into that to really give you the idea of why I say it what it is. And that's pretty much whatever the narcissistic factors are. Now, before we even start really digging into this one, I just want to say it right now. Narcissism has become a big buzzword lately. We hear it all the time. And we got to really measure it out properly. But when it comes to shedding a light on this particular issue, the issue of civility, because that's what we're talking about is. We're not talking about anything else. We're talking about people who genuinely believe they're above the rules, that their thoughts are more important than anyone else's. Because narcissism is about feeling entitled to special treatment, especially special treatment in which the context of the conversation means talking over people, ignoring boundaries, and even bullying. Crab, what's going on? I want you to think about that for a moment. If you're expecting special treatment, are you really trying to have a genuine conversation? Or are you just performing a monologue for an audience? It's just something to think about, because there's a cycle that can be played there, and I guess I'll talk about breaking that cycle. So how do we change it? How do we change this thing that tends to happen when it comes to civility and communication? Because as much as it's tempting to say, I'm civil, it's everyone else who has a problem, I think we're all guilty of it sometimes. And for what I'm thinking about, step one in itself is having self-awareness. Self-awareness, folks. I think a lot of people don't really understand when they're even doing it. I think we need to know what sets us off. And when we feel like those emotions creeping in, we got to actually pause. We got to pause. Take a breath, I think that's fair. Dan, what's going on? I think step two is to set the boundaries. If someone is getting too heated, maybe it's time to take a step back. Step back, set off, set limits. And not for nothing, if you're the one that's getting worked up, be upfront. Be upfront and say, hey, yo, you know what? This shit's getting me heated right now. let's take a break. Because too many people get heated, they know they get heated, and they don't back the hell off, which means that they fuel their own toxicity. It's not weakness. It's actually pretty mature to do that. To say, I'm getting heated, let's take a step back. But there are people who just don't want to back down no matter what. So how do we go about dealing with people who are easily worked up, but they still want to prescribe to others how they should behave? I think for one, we should really separate the advice from the person sometimes. Because the advice itself might sound even, they may sound good from the person who's delivering it, but maybe that person who is delivering it, in fact, doesn't really embody it well. We can still take the nuggets, of what we're hearing without adopting their particular approach wholesale. I think another thing we can do is, like I said, we reflect, encourage self-reflection. And you know what? Not even just for ourselves. Because if these people are actually open to feedback, I would encourage them to self-reflect. Maybe you should even ask them questions like, so how do you stay calm when things start heating up? I think sometimes the act of self-reflection really helps them really recognize their own inconsistencies. Sometimes, not a guaranteed trick. Let's talk about leading by example, because sometimes the best way to influence others is by embodying those behaviors yourself. I think you got to show them what calm, productive communication looks like without getting sucked into the emotional energy, that emotional cyclone that starts up. And I think people need to understand that everybody should be challenged. So the idea of politely challenging their advice, is something that we should all be willing to do. We should all be willing to get challenged. Stupid to believe that someone should not be challenged. Anyone in leadership is challenged, and they can't take it personally. I mean, if it feels appropriate, challenge their advice. Challenge it with curiosity. Ask, how exactly do you apply this in your own life? Now I got a cop car coming by. Hell, you can ask them another question. What are some personal struggles that you're facing with that you've taken the approach that you are, quote, giving to other people? I think this can help reveal that they may not really have mastered the shit they're saying themselves. I think another thing that we can do is we can basically avoid engagement, especially when they're at their peak emotionality. I mean, if you know someone is quick to get worked up, sometimes the best thing to do is just to avoid engaging with them, especially on the deeper topics when they're clearly emotional. Clearly. Hoover, what's going on? Because I think people need to, and I think even Sippin, you might have been saying this. Like, you got to time your discussions. Maybe you should table it to somewhere else, and you got to time your discussions for when they're more likely to be level-headed. Because that's the only way you're really gonna get productive exchange. This is why that whole thing is really good when it comes to setting boundaries, because it's completely fair to let them know that you do not appreciate being lectured to, especially if it's in a way that feels hypocritical. Now, you can assert your boundaries without being hostile, which might help them realize the effects of their behaviors when it comes to other people. And I guess My final thought on that will be that, or rather, the question that's in my mind is, why does civility even matter, right? To kind of go back to the beginning of when I started thinking about this, because it's not about being polite, but rather it's about creating an environment where real conversations can actually happen. Because we live in a world right now where everyone wants to be heard, but no one is actually really listening. And I think that, quite frankly, civility bridges that gap. It's saying, I care enough about the conversation to stay present, even when it's tough. And to me, that's powerful. That is indeed powerful. That's my thoughts. That's me laying down the groundwork on this. And you guys know what I'm going to do now. I'm going to want to hear your thoughts on the subject. So here we go. Oops, wrong area. Close this little window. Link is in the chat. And I'm going to peruse, of course, what you guys have been saying in the chat. The streets. Oops. Might as well give you some music. Every step we take, undercover blues, our lives at stake. Beneath the surface, we find the truth. Evaluate, cup searching for proof. Rook, what's going on? Thanks for stopping by. It's in our blood, but sometimes it's tough. Misunderstood. We're the guardians of peace and justice in the alleys and streets, where the shadows kiss in the face of danger. We stand tall, working for the greater good, giving our all.
OG do dirty, flipping packs in the back, stuffing the blood, fat stack, jet black Cadillac, stacks in the mattress, cash cow status, walk in the streets, heat talk, no practice, blood blazing, smoke hazing, OGs in the attic, crispy clean kicks, ain't nothing static, southern nights, trap dreams, raw matic, light it up, inhale the magic, erratic, down south, making moves, 808s, hit raw, sip the lean, slow the scene, outlaws on call, counting bills, run the thrills, trap house ball, switches in the air, grandiose alcohol, dirty dope dreams, with the crew so mean, like some movie scene, trap king, royally king, purple haze phase, hazy days, cash in streams, hit the streets, beast mode, blitzy juice schemes, OG do dirty, leaning like the tower, got the power, hour after hour. Living fast, mile high, never sour. Came up from the grit, dirty money flower. Blood blazing, smoke hazing, OGs in the attic. Crispy clean kicks, ain't nothing static. Southern nights, trap dreams, raw matic. Light it up, inhale the magic, erratic. OG do dirty, leaning like the tower. Got the power, hour after hour. Living fast, mile high, never sour. Came up from the grit, dirty money flower. Blood blazing, smoke hazing, OGs in the attic. Crispy clean kicks, ain't nothing static. Southern nights, trap dreams, raw matic. Light it up, inhale the magic, erratic.
Give me one moment, folks. I'm going to change a couple of settings up. I was reading a couple of things. And we got someone in the back. We got Dan. What's going on?
Pura vida.
Another day in it, man. Another day.
Yeah, started my week kind of relaxed. Finished my chores, got shit done, and now I'm just chilling for the rest of the afternoon. It's 4:30 right now, so
Yeah,
gotta be up at
6:30 over
5.
here now.
Yeah, gotta be up tomorrow at 5 a.m. So anyhow, got a few hours just relax.
All right. So, what have you been thinking about the conversation so far? How much have you heard of it?
Okay, I'll be honest, man. It took me back to the last panel. It was in the same line of conversation that we started having there. The you've interacted with me. I try to be civil. I use my words. I do my stuff, and I think because of my work and the stuff I have to do, civility is right there. Because I have to deal with people of all ranges, all ways, all shapes, all forms. So I'm not gonna come in and be a son of a gun on the get go. I'm gonna have to treat people with civility, with respect, with a little bit of try to get that person to talk or negotiate or sit down and try to figure out how to resolve XYZ problem, things like that. So I guess I do that on my online persona also. I cannot change. I can't be different. I've been doing this for 25 years, so it's become a force of habit.
Okay. So, let me get your perspective on it. I'm going to say what I think, and then you tell me what you think about Hoover's question, right? And she asked the question, why do people treat a conversation like arguments when it's just an average conversation? And I think really from my perspective, it's about several factors. Um, I think in real life, when we're talking with people, there's so much that goes into it. You're there, you read body language, or maybe you know a little bit more about the person to which you're interacting with. A lot of people just don't really randomly talk to strangers. Some do, but I would say most don't. In some way, shape, or form, whether it's an acquaintance or just someone they work with, whatever, you got some semblance of an idea of how they are. Um, but in reference to being online, people don't really know how to communicate, or they don't care about communication because they're there for ulterior motives. You know, so to some people, they choose to argue with people because they haven't figured out the art of communication, and they don't understand the difference between a debate and a conversation. Arguments happen in conversations. Not all arguments are debates. And there are some people that just choose to argue regardless of what it is, just because simply it is opposed to what they are stating. There are some people that just refuse to hear the difference of opinions and then state that they are open minded. You can't possibly be open minded if you cannot hear the nuances, if you cannot hear the difference of opinions, and you cannot hear the critiques as to what people are actually thinking themselves. What are your thoughts on that, Dan?
Uh, we have to agree. I mean, one thing is a normal ass daily conversation you may have with acquaintances, with the people you're more near to. It's like when I go into one of the offices I work, it's like, "Good morning, what's up?" And then, "Hey, I saw the show," or "Did you see this news?" or blah blah blah, that type of thing, or "How's the coffee?" Blah blah blah. You know, and then there's the type of conversation where you are actually engaged in arguments and formulating ideas and examining realities, etc. That's something that is attached to activism or being aware of what's going on, etc. So those levels of conversations.
But
And
we've also
and
seen it with activists, though. Like, we understand that activists have an agenda and a position that they're coming from. But let's be honest, in terms of activism, as much as they're supposed to be, quote, swaying other people to understand the position, we've also seen activists totally shut down other people's opinions contrary to what they believe.
Let's put it very simple.
Mm.
We have to make a clear distinction.
Mhm.
When you are dealing with the people nearby, or the people physically that you have more direct contact with,
Mhm.
99% of the time, you're not talking about in-depth theories or
For sure.
arguments or etc. You're just doing the things daily on the live, and that happens to everybody. But when people get involved into the reality, aka what we call politics, and they start having a different a different sphere of relation towards that reality, sure, they can do the daily things, etc. But in some occasions, that becomes a like an armor, and that armor, if it's not well put into oneself, it becomes then a weapon to which you are pushing your own bias. You're not pushing change. You're just deciding I'm right because I'm right, and the only thing right is me, type of thing. So yeah, that type of issue happens a lot in that type of field of work, but it's not like in the common groundwork or common conversations. You do not have people that actually do that without entering into the political world or the activism world. You have people that
That's
will try to.
That's not true. I mean, there are plenty of people who will not hear other people's opinions, simply based because they believe that their side is right, regardless of what. There are people who are definitely egotistical, or people who just believe that they are the most learned studies and believe that no one else knows more than them, that everybody else should somehow sit at their feet, not necessarily, give them any pushback whatsoever. Some people are just not okay with having their beliefs
Oh,
challenged. I
yeah.
mean, we see this even with people who are, whether in the debate sphere, people in politics, people who are religious. They just don't want to hear that there's a possibility that there's something that they don't know. We see this a lot. And Hoover, to answer this, it's not you. It's about the perspective and the agenda from those people you're speaking to. Because if they were really trying to understand how the conversation was going, what they would do is, instead of getting defensive and start barking quickly, they would just simply ask for clarification, because they will understand that you have a difference of experience. That's all. So no, I don't think it's your fault. And
Simple.
I appreciate you, Jen. I appreciate you.
I
I try.
I I love I love challenging my own ideas every single day. Every single day, I speak with people, and if the conversation leads to more in-depth things, let's go at it. If the conversation remains on something, not too in depth, just the good morning, how you doing, how's your life, blah 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 blah. Did you see the prices of the coffee today? You're not gonna need arguments on that. You're just gonna have you know, a basic relation type of thing, or basic communication. But on the conversations, or of the politics of the reality, etc., have your ideas challenged. You need to have your ideas challenged. You need to have your understanding challenged, because if you don't, then you're going to become Alex Jones. You're going to become some other individuals there. And yes, I grabbed Alex Jones because he's a prime example of somebody who's the famous phrase in Spanish, el pez muere por la boca, the fish dies by the mouth.
Yes, yes, very, very much so. What's going on, Conchondering? Grab a seat. So yeah, I can agree. I can agree with that. So I brought up different points to which I was bringing up in this, and it was even to the point where we're having conversation. I just know that when we're dealing with particular people, especially when they're online, and you can say whether they are someone who's actually studied it, but I think a lot of people speak off of small amount of research, if they've done any research whatsoever, or they like to they like to cast a broad generalization when they're really speaking from an anecdotal perspective, which means that it's not general, it's highly specific. But they will use the arguments as a general organization. And I've seen it before. Now, there are some people who even use the conversations that are very broad and very general, but have no experience whatsoever in it. So an example is like how a lot of people in the manosphere talk. They will give you a whole bunch of talking points and statistics that happen all around the world. But if you ask them for any particular work, studies, anything that's been published, they can't give you anything. They know what they've been parroting for a long time. But if you've been parroting it for a long time, the best thing that would hold you with more credibility is if you actually kept information for people to research.
You can tell, and we have the grade. You can tell when a person knows their subject and knows what they're talking about versus the person that is just parroting bullshit.
I agree.
You can tell when a person, and yes, I may do a little callback when persons say, "Oh, you said too much, but you didn't say anything," but they understood exactly what you said, but they use that as a form of avoiding the in-depth subject just to go personal attacks or things like that. So fundamentally, look, internet has done something, and that something is that it's given microphones to a bunch of people who should not have microphones, who should not be speaking because they're not prepared, or because the things they're speaking they are incapable of sustaining in a rhetorical or a sophist or a any way, shape, form, or manner where they're contested in regards to their ideas, and then they get mad, and then if they're heavily followed, they use that following to persecute, to silence, to do everything possible against those who are criticizing them.
Okay. And let me just answer something that a statement, or rather a question that I've seen in here. Rook, not at all. I've already done previous streams on communication. I've already done previous streams on narcissism. So no, I'm not baiting or yet getting into anything. I've made constant. In fact, I haven't mentioned that person whatsoever. Not at all. Yes, I know it's a recent thing that's come up, and a lot of people here probably don't even know anything about it. But no, I haven't made no highlights toward that person. Now, if it just so happens that the things that are synonymous with a lot of different people also falls into their characteristics, I can understand how you see it that way. But I have made no emphasis about them whatsoever. And the white women in your LA, the white women, they're in here.
I'm assuming, or I'm deducing, that we're talking about somebody who's had interaction with you in the past and has not been fruitful.
I don't know. Depends on the perspective of what they see or what others see as fruitful. To me, I don't lose or gain anything from it. It does nothing for me. So it is. Again, if you set boundaries in all your conversations, if you set boundaries and those boundaries are crossed, that's it. That's it. There's nothing left to talk about, because obviously you can't have civil conversations.
Yeah.
Now, last time when I tried to set boundaries and trying to be civil, I was told that I was trying to change them. No, I was setting parameters as to how we should have a discussion if we're actually going to have a civil conversation. That was it.
That's what
Rook was a. You know what? I won't take the words from him. Rook, you can explain. It was your question.
No, we were joking about something entirely different in chat, Resla. And when you checked into chat, you responded to me as if I was talking about something else to you. I was talking about an entirely different topic to someone else in chat. Had nothing to you, and I'm sorry if it was like a derailer.
No, it wasn't a derailer. I was talking whatever. When I just saw it, I was
I was not addressing anything like that. We were talking about something else in chat. I'm sorry that it drew your attention. Cheers. I'm gonna drop back out.
I know a lot of people don't like to read chats or whatever on their channel. Like me, I try to read as much as I can back and forth. And it just so happened that yours was lengthy enough that I stood out. Like I saw yours, and then I kind of just scrolled down, and then I saw a crab. So like sometimes if it's really big, I try to take the time to read it. That's all.
I apologize. I'm gonna drop down. I just wanted to clarify.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, I think that in a lot of ways, when we're having these conversations, and I'm really tailoring a lot more to being online, because believe it or not, that previous conversation that I did have is a great example. Because a great another example is what Hoover gave as a question. Why is it when you seem like you're talking, everybody tries to get into an argument? Because there are people who gear themselves up to believe that in the internet, having regular conversations are boring. So therefore, they feel like the only way that people really want to be around is if we're out here yelling and cussing each other out. People
You know
don't believe
what's
people don't believe that a regular conversation can be stimulating. That's really what it is.
Yeah. You know what's funny?
Mhm.
One, the internet has created and has put forward something that was happening in the social world, in the physical world, which is people out and in, both in the non-virtual as in the virtual world, when they're going into subjects that require more depth, more analysis, etc. Some of those people become grifters. They become charlatans. They become somebody who wants uniquely to push that particular agenda. And the moving of that attitude in the physical world, that attitude is very subtle. It becomes in the physical world, in the real world, it becomes subtle. It's you see those individuals speaking more calmly, trying to convince people, trying to do the things. But when they come to the internet, then it's like, they just show their aggressiveness into that sense. And in some other aspects, you
I
have
think some
people.
people who do this are actually doing that in real life. So that's why I kind of wanted to highlight Hoover's comment here, because there are some people like literally their way of communicating, their way of engagement, the things that stimulate them is just simply to have arguments. And honestly, if you have people that you're engaging with who are consistently like that, I won't tell you what to do. But if it's something that you find repetitive and annoying, you should distance yourself. There's no way to really be civil with them. You can set your baselines. You can have that conversation to set a baseline with them. But if you notice that they violate the baseline, you're gonna have to start distancing yourself. They might be great people, but they're just not good for you. That's really what it is.
But
In
I
fact, don't just be go ghost. Tell them the reason why.
There's three things I do a lot during in my work. I have to go to specific locations and talk to the populations that are living on that area. I have to sit down and I have to know beforehand what are their problems, what is the housing problem, what is the electricity problems, what is the water accessibility, etc. I have to know that beforehand before I sit with this group of people in the different regions, not only in Costa Rica, but I've done that throughout almost all Latin America. And one thing I learned is that when people are confused, scared, or even gaslighted to believe in shit that they shouldn't believe in, anger is the first response. They become angry when they are exposed to a completely contrary factual analysis of the reality. And
What's good, Sharon? What's going on? Go ahead. I'm listening to you.
Yeah, and so in that sense, when you're having that physical interaction, you see that in their faces, in their body language, etc. On the other hand, when you are in different spaces where not necessarily you're talking about the problems or the realities, you start seeing people in a more, I would say, neutral state of being, which means people, when they're not engaging into in-depth conversations, etc., you see that behaving in a way which they're not defensive, they're neutral. And depending on how the conversation goes, that's when you start seeing the switches and the changes and the attitudes, etc. So, and just to close on this, civility is the weapon to which one uses in order to move forward and build relationships. Narcissism is the weapon of mass destruction that destroys the possibility of connection.
I agree. Uncle Fatty, what's going on, man?
Deep stuff, guys. Great conversation.
I try all the time, man. I try. I try to make it interesting.
I ended up having a really, really good conversation with Kev the other night. Very heated political conversation. And
yeah, I was there for part of it, but I had to dip.
It's not too often, you know, when we can come to mutual ground. Like you're saying, brother, moving past the denial, past the fight or flight syndrome, past the rationalizations, the justifications, the cop-outs, the projection, the deflection, all the stuff that addicts go through is the same thing we experience when our soul is touched, when somebody's poking our thoughts and our beliefs. I mean, I look at life, I look at all of life really in a kind of a satirical way of looking at addiction, especially with communication. You know, with communication, it's so easy to not take constructive criticism. Even when a bro comes to us and says, "Hey, bro, I really want to, like," you know, we're instantly defensive. You know, we have a tendency to tell each other things like, "You shouldn't feel that way," right? Which is just an absolute like instinctual thing to say, but it is the biggest gaslight we can give each other. Especially when we're, you know, and I've poked you now, and now we're in a situation, and I say, "You shouldn't feel that way. That's not the way I intended." You know, well, it's dehumanizing.
Yeah.
You know, and we have such an easy way of just kind of, you know, using words that might not really fit the situation, but we've just been accustomed to using terms, you know, type of things. And man, communications it's everything, man. It's everything.
Well, in that situation, where, especially when you're talking about friends, right? People who's supposed to be closest to you, supposed to know the most about you. These are people who, quite frankly, should be able to tell you the things that are most uncomfortable, especially about yourself, and doing it with actual good faith, you know. But what I tend to see, you know, whether it's online or offline, people tend to only want people who are going to basically suck up to them and sugarcoat shit. And that's terrible. That's a terrible position to be in. You're setting yourself up for failure, you know. Or you have the people who, at any instance, when their friends, say plural, give them the same message, they think everyone else is messed up except them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be simple in this. We gotta make a clear distinction. If we are approaching a person we don't know, it's our first time meeting them. We as well as the counterpart, it's not gonna start by telling you, you know, "Hey, listen, I got some constructive criticism," because there is no rapport. And it has happened to me where a complete stranger has come up to me and told me, "Have you thought about cutting your beard?" Motherfucker, who the fuck are you to come and tell me that? We don't know each other. Do you want me to tell you that your face looks like Donald Duck on steroids? So there is a boundary. Well, those people that we have created a great rapport, family, friends, close-knit individuals, there's a great of expectation from us, from the person, to be able to have you know, an honest approach and tell you, "Hey man, you're fucking up. Hey man, you know, you did this and it really backfired on you." Or in some occasions, it's not just the negative, it's also, "Dude, you did fantastic. Oh, I loved how you did this, that, and that, and that, and everything in between. So I think that the boundary is marked by the capability um, of making that connection,
Yeah.
of
For real.
having that connection. So there's that line, and it's the same thing on the internet. If you're not gonna treat a stranger like a complete and utter asshole the first time you meet them, then why the fuck are you gonna do the same thing when you're on the internet meeting and talking and conversing with strangers? It just doesn't make sense.
It's a pretty weird dynamic.
Yeah, but one thing that was being said when you said somebody comes in, they say things like, "Oh, why don't you color your beer?" It also says something about the space that you're in, right? Because if they coming in and they're stating things like that, it also means that there weren't actually boundaries set by the host for that particular channel. Because if there were things like that, that we don't just come in and start insulting right off the bat without knowing one another, or at least building a little bit of rapport, a little bit of a saying, a joking manner with each other, then you shouldn't do that.
A little bit of foreplay, please.
Yeah, if that becomes the norm in someone's channel, then there's a two-way part. There's a two-way hindrance in that. First of all, it's insulting for them to come in and just do that to you, but also you kind of messed yourself up if you walked into a panel where you didn't know what the boundaries or if there were no boundaries set at all.
Right.
Some people are just disrespectful,
isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
and then some people are just
setting boundaries, and
they believe that you should know them, but they shouldn't know you. It's weird.
Yeah, and without a defined expectation, without somebody saying straight up, this is a boundary, and these are consequences. Good luck. I mean, there's 90% of channels don't do that.
Look, right now, at this moment, you have thousands, if not millions, of channels doing the panels on different subjects around the world, talking different realities, talking different things. Some of them are close-knit groups that have been doing so for the past 10 years, 12 years, 15 years. Others are fairly new, etc. So people are hungry for this type of content,
interaction,
of interaction. And in fact, this, I don't have any data consistently with this, but I could part from the hypothesis that what we're seeing from the internet is that people are getting tired of panels that everybody's talking against each other, to each other, and not talking about the issues. People are getting tired of so-called drama. They want to listen to different perspectives on different subjects, but at the same time, given the so-called manosphere and the red thingy, whatever you want to call them, there's clear positions that need to be challenged systematically, and that voices need to come out and say, these points are bullshit because of this, and this, and this. These are my sources. These are my investigations, etc. So I consider that we are seeing the internet heading into a more strengthening of that human communication on so many different subjects. But at the same time, it is battling against prejudice, the own prejudice that is coming from a communication based off fear, bias, unknown, etc. So,
yeah, I do agree. If people are going to state these things, then they should always have the links or something for everybody to be able to read those references. I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we in real life, at least, we come to the table, we bring an offering to the table, and we take with it what we want, what resonates with us, and we leave the rest there. Online, it's so easy to just come at each other knowing that there's no real consequence, especially when there's no real defined one. right? So the spurg outs and the talking at each other and the not talking about subjects it works itself out. I think too that this time of year is it's Libra season. Okay, it's the time of judgment. It's the time that Lady Justice comes and weighs our heart against our soul. And if we're not even, we get called out. And this time of year, a lot of shit gets called out online, and it gets reset, and we kind of go through winter, and then springtime comes. We get into the whatever Pisces kind of season where we're new growth, and summertime gets its boss energy, and then fall comes, and we end up in the same spot that we were last year, dealing with tomfoolery. The year before that, dealing with whoever else. It's a pretty easy cycle to kind of see on a long-term cycle, but there's something to the management of expectations that just doesn't happen online, that does through normal communication in real life. Construction is the worst. Okay. There's always a guy on site that can tell you how you're fucking up.
Yeah.
How bad you're doing it. How shitty, just the attitude of some of these guys, man. I've dealt all of my life with this. The first guy on the job site that says, this isn't going right, man. And this guy didn't do his job right. Now I can't do my job right. Infects the whole entire job site. And that attitude has infected kind of the whole, panel sphere as far as it goes, with guys like, the Illuminated one and others that are just, their whole entire goal in life is to cause havoc. In the name of the Lord, or in the name of justice, or in the name of
just one quick thing.
Hold up.
You referred.
Hold up, Dan. Hold up.
I didn't see that.
What's going on?
Assalamu alaikum, my brothers.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Here we go. What's good, my guy?
Man, same shit, different day. Enjoying the weather. Beautiful.
Oh, you back there?
Yeah, for a while. I'll
Okay.
be home one day. Yeah, but I disagree. I don't think people are tired of the bullshit. I completely disagree. The numbers literally bear it out. That I think certain people are, but the majority of the internet, they love it. Majority of the world love it. That's why the highest grossing shows have the most bullshit with them. People will never get tired of it. We say we do. Like, we always are attracted to negativity. And we will always be attracted to negativity. There's nothing we can do about it.
Nothing better than a nice dumpster fire getting hit by a train.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad, but it is what it is. I mean, that's why if you think,
I agree.
Yeah, you can make something real positive, and it'll get a few thousand. But let you go up there and slap somebody, it get millions of views.
So I agree with you, LA. I agree, but the thing is that that shouldn't stop people from still making content that's more positive.
Okay, but what are you doing it for then? I mean,
for
we
the
are a
people
capitalist.
needs it. Somebody needs it.
You're right. But is that one person going to pay your bills?
Some people are getting their bills paid.
Yeah, but
and again, it's all about your algorithm, because there are a lot of positive content out there that they are making millions.
Yeah.
True. But they also, I think in that instinct, they also have like a cult-like following with that person, right? So if you look at a lot of people who do quote-unquote positive content, they have a cult-like following.
I mean,
and people ride with them forever.
The negative ones. It's the same for the negative ones, sir.
Oh, no, it's 100%. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, but I don't know. I guess I kind of look at it different. Like, what was that guy named who was a pander? Daryl, what the fuck his name was? The dude, the big dude. He was pandering to all the women. The next thing you know, he got caught up in a scandal. Got a bitch pregnant, made her abortion. Derek Jackson. He was quote unquote positive, but he was pandering. But even after he got caught up in his bull crap, they wouldn't leave him. But a lot of his shit ended up being bullshit. So I don't know if it's the positivity, or I think people for some reason love con artists, but I don't know, because a lot of these motivational speakers, you'll be like, oh, they doing positivity, but if you listen to a lot of them, I know they all full of shit. Well, majority of them, they all full of shit. So I don't know. I still don't know about this positive content crap.
I mean, like I said, there are. Now, I'm going to tell you, there are all out there. The issue is that what you said, there just seems to be a lot more highlighting, because the truth of the matter is that not everybody even watches panels. Not everybody watches people fighting. Not everybody's looking at the Jerry Springers. Not everybody's looking at, the news. Even there are plenty. This is the reason why the overarching things that pay the most money is music and animal videos.
And actually,
bro.
If we look at Joe Rogan, whatever we could say on Joe Rogan, but his format is precisely the respectful interaction between parts. And it has been so since the get-go. And it's actually beating anybody who has drama or a more sensationalist type of approach towards this. And we see it. It has that effectiveness of two people sitting down and having a conversation in regards to the subject. And yes, I disagree with a lot with Joe Rogan in many ways, but
sure, but do you know who sits right below Joe Rogan, who has a lot of that BS that we're talking about? Joe Budden.
Exactly, but it's a world apart. I mean, I don't think Joe Budden is going to reach that level of
Sir, he's up. Joe Budden is up there.
Maybe wrong.
Yeah,
I haven't seen much of Joe Budden. I have until now that you mention it, I can remember.
Well, again, it depends on what your algorithm looks like.
Right.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest criticisms I have of the internet is geolocation. Geolocation isolates populations, and it does not then open up to the rest of the world. And geolocation impacts the understanding or the further analysis. And to be frank, Google and all this big tech are responsible for that, but also United States, Russia, Europe, they're very responsible of creating that idea of geolocation and the algorithm responding to that geolocation. And the only way to fight geolocation is VPN,
That's true. So, LA, not sure how much of the show that you actually caught. Same for you, Locksmith. But we're really talking about that art of civility when it comes to communication. We see more people, just like you guys have, willing to cut their teeth, cut their lips to get more disrespectful rather than trying to get an understanding of the conversation. So I guess I'll ask both of you guys. I heard Uncle Fatty, I've already heard Dan on this one, but why do you think that basically civil conversation, let me just ask this. When it comes to civil conversation, what is your ideal of it? Do you think it's about getting real dialogue so that we can have a respectful debate, or is it about simply politeness?
Go ahead, LA.
I think we don't define what the conversations are and end up in debates.
Yeah, so are you saying what's my ideal one, or what do people ideally want to have in those?
According to you, when you hear or people say civil conversation, is it about having a respectful discourse, or is it about being polite?
No. I honestly don't think it's either one. I think it's about somebody's trying to prove they know something more than the other person without looking like an asshole. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it has anything to do with either one of them. Like I know this more than you. I'm smarter than you. That's why people love debate so much. I don't know if they even being civil. I usually people in debates are smug. I would totally
second that. I think this debatosphere stuff has rolled over into real life, and everybody is looking for debate.
But that's what's falling apart. The fact that people are not being civil because they don't even know the difference between an argument and a debate.
or a
A lot of people are
conversation.
not being civil. If I say, hey, can we not go about with all the name calling, whatever, we're really just trying to really hammer down this conversation in LA and Locksmith and everybody else up here seeing it. Somebody comes in and, man, I want to fucking talk about that shit. They get the fuck out the conversation because you ruin it for the
You're
other people
wrong.
that
You're a
actually are
liar.
engaging.
Yeah.
Those are the people that are not civil when everybody else is actually having a good conversation. I mean, you see, here's a great example. On CT show, everybody's doing well and someone gets paid to come in and fuck the whole shit up.
Yep.
And not because they're all agreeing, but because even when they disagree, they're not cussing, screaming, and saying, I'll pull up, I smack this fire at you, or whatever. They just, I disagree. I disagree.
Yeah,
Here's the reason why I disagree. All right, you know what? I guess we'll just have a different opinion. That difference of opinion, that agree to disagree, isn't enough. Because someone has to aim for a W.
Yep.
Yeah, but do you think people's... Go ahead, last man.
I was just gonna say Shanad's infamous for that shit.
Yeah, but do you think people ideas? See, I think this is where people kind of get things, and this is just my opinion, twisted. I think because we all have a different definition of civil. I don't think two people definition of civil is the same because there's a lot of assholes that you can hear when they're talking, but they don't hear themselves being an asshole. But we all can hear it, especially in debates. But in their mind, they're being civil. Case in point.
Agreed.
When the Democrats are talking to Kamala, you can literally hear them pandering and kissing her ass. But when they talk to Trump, they talk to him like he a piece of crap. But in their mind, they were being civil to him. Like you can't change it. I think people definitely, and they literally just can't. They can't distinguish the difference. So I think that's where we are. The baseline for being civil is different with everybody.
Well, and we can look at the same side of the same coin. Saying how MAGA looks at Trump and whatever else
Look at
too.
him like a god.
That's the addictive tendency that I was kind of talking about. That we're wrapped up in our own little comfort burrito, right? We don't like anybody to come take any bites out of us or poke us or put any more sauce on us. We're very comfortable in our own little wrapper, right? And when we get out of that,
the part that I mentioned that you did with when you made that example, LA, which is the whole point why I also mentioned the fact that these people are narcissists.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I made that as a very much of a sticking point, that there are people that just believe that they're always right and that their views are the only ones that believe that's the most important, and anyone else's views should not even be acknowledged. And if it does acknowledge, it's still not important because mine is still more valuable than yours.
Straight up.
The whole world
is against me, bro. The whole world is against me, and I'm the only one that can fix it.
Which is crazy.
Before anything, I wanted to say something to Patty on a comment he said before. I think you're going to remember this. The guy saying, okay, guys, we need the cement done by 0800 hours. We need the panels up and ready. Come on, people. We're getting paid by the hour. You know what I'm saying.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah, don't even get me started.
But that's construction is the hardest thing as far as just managing expectations, right? We set goals, but we know every single day is going to be a test in adapting and overcoming. Somebody's not going to show up. Somebody's mother-in-law is going to have a problem with her dog, and somebody's car. There's always something every day that's going to happen, especially on these big jobs that I'm doing. And
or when you get the fresh guy, yeah. Anyhow, going back to that point of the conversation. Look, one element is that people are comfortable in their own little bubble, whichever bubble that is. But there is a factual reality that bubble is interconnected with all other bubbles. And if it were not so, then the issues of politics, of elections, of events that are happening, religion, would not have such a heavy thing, not only in the virtual world, but on the on the physical world outside in that sense. So I think that we're kidding ourselves when we do not recognize that this era, the opening up towards being connected to other people outside one's country that may or may not share series of values, that may or may not know your own country's history, or you may not know their history, is enabling us to create a more profound inter-exchange of ideas, of views, etc. But that does not come only in the positive light. It comes with the negative side, that there are people there that, to quote one of the greatest movies in this time era, they're just people who love to see the world burn. So
Sure,
one has to waddle through that.
Sure, but there are still plenty of people who do. I mean, this is exactly the point that we're making when it comes to the conversation. There are some people that there's some people up there. There are a lot of people who have channels where they state something, they make it entertaining, but they're able to give the message in a way that people can digest it, and it's still entertaining. And there's other people that they have a message, and the message gets lost because of all of the fuckery. Because what they should be learning is there, but it gets overshadowed by the name calling, by all the excessive yelling and everything else. So those people are not really learning a damn thing. They come in with a message, and then the message never gets found. This is why this whole idea when people say, like, we're having conversations and we're gonna get down to it because we love to have solutions, and then the question may have been put only in the beginning, but hours into the segment, no one's ever really talked about the question at all. And we see that a lot in a lot of different spaces, a lot of different channels, political and everything. So what was the whole point? Except for bringing people in for the grift, bringing people in for numbers. It wasn't. A lot of people's streams are not even about the stream.
Yeah.
What's the subject about? Okay, cool. Let's talk about it, and it's totally something different.
Yeah, 15 minutes. You're 8 deflections away because 4 guys have deflected. You know, it's kind of a bullshit game, but there is a unique dynamic to all of this that is having and sparking some really good conversations. Like I told Mel last week, you know, the self-help thing, right? The self-help panels like this, just talking about normal everyday human problems. Angela Knight, I noticed this with a couple of years ago. When you are the light and you're trying to be that shining light that attracts the moth, you attract all the bugs, bro. All of them. All the bugs are attracted to that light.
Yeah.
Right. And it's simple physics. It's simple math. It's simple what's science. Cold always moves to the heat. Right. Negative ions move towards the positive. Right. It's an attraction. It's a yin and a yang. So you can't have one without the other type of thing. And a lot of the bigger panels, I mean, a lot of the bigger whatever content creators, I don't know, maybe 40 to 60% trolls.
And I wanted to touch on something that Resla said, and in conjunction with Fadi. I have to pose the question: what is to be entertained? I mean,
yeah.
If I want to be entertained, me personally, I watch a good movie. I listen to a good song. I read a good novel, something that is not political or extremely political, something like, you know, Lord of the Rings, for example, or Cien Años de Soledad, or 100 Years of Solitude from Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I find nothing entertaining on going into online and going into a panel where everybody's screaming at each other and they've lost the track of the goddamn conversation, you know? And
I don't know. Flow State's panel can be pretty fun sometimes, though.
Well, in my own personal sense, for me, no, it isn't. I find it annoying.
Yeah.
In my own personal sense, I find nothing of that amusing, because if I want to listen about XYZ subject that requires a bit more grounded, be it economic, be it political, be it social, etc., I want to be able to hear the persons, hear their ideas, and be able to, try to see if certain points are good or bad or ugly or whatever. But when everybody just going for the drama, they get nowhere, and then everybody loses. In my own personal position in that sense.
I hear you. I tend to believe that when we start seeing the same people over again, we tend to believe that that's all there is. And when it's so funny, because all I have to do is start a whole new Google account, and I can easily see just how vastly different the world is. Like we tend to forget that YouTube is as large as the world itself, and not everybody is interested in the same things. But we get, like, a lot of people get lost. There are people who come to me and say, do you know about so and so? I had a conversation with so and so. Like, I'm supposed to know who the fuck that is. I make my rounds and I hear about somebody new all the time. It doesn't even bother researching. Like, not for nothing, I meet new people, and you know what's the first thing I'm doing behind the scenes? I'm looking them up, because I'm trying to get a sense of them, because I might run into this person again. Or I'm always worried about, damn, if I'm getting exposure, how many people are going to run into me and I know nothing about them? A great example is when we recently had the Thors up here. I recently know about them, and I've been trying to find some of their far back content rather than anything recent. But when they start popping up on my panel, I'm going, what the hell is YouTube doing where people like that are able? Again, nothing against or anything. I know how people, and they got their followers and whatever they do, but because I worry about the chat. I worry about people. But it's like when people like that show up, I go, okay, cool. I want their perspectives. I like to have conversations, and I told them so. But I also have to be cognizant of the people that are trying to snipe them. And by happenstance, and wherever they go, will try to snipe me. You got to be very. I even told somebody in the chat, I think that what I said was like, they were like, oh, actually, because you, Dan, you were having the back and forth with Ben. And I think somebody said something of effect that, yo, how are you basically not defending your boy? And one of the things I say is like, first of all, when you get up here, you stand on your own square. And number two, when you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. You got to rock with that. So he can handle himself. Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, because you don't know my channel, because you think that the same rules apply to everywhere else than it does here. That's number one. Number two, he's a grown-ass man that's capable of taking care of his own shit.
Yeah, exactly.
He's smart enough. Like, why would I have to cape for him? Well, that is weird. It wouldn't matter if you're male or female. You get up here, you're not ready to be talking to people. Stay the fuck off of panels.
Completely agreed on that. I mean, look, I can understand perhaps a 17, 18-year-old kid who comes up and doesn't have the life experience to handle the bullshit that goes out of the mouth of people out there in here. Okay. But somebody like me or somebody like Nadia or yourself, or somebody who has 30, 40 years on top of in their life, one minimum thing one can expect is that they can handle themselves, that they can, do the work in that sense. And I think going back to that point of civility, and it's something that I mentioned on the prior panel. I asked, in the physical world, are you going to treat a person the same way you're treating somebody here in the virtual world? And the answer was no.
Sure, we know the answer. I'm like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about?
So if you're not going to do it, then why are you doing it?
Good, Lawrence.
It means that people...
Well, I explained why. Because people are able to be anonymous. So they're really going to push the boundary of what they would actually do if it was real life. I mentioned that, like, when you can hide, people don't tend to say, well, I can hide. Let me be more nice than I normally am. Let me be more understanding than I normally am. That's not what happens. It's like, how far can I be a dick?
People suck, man.
Worst.
That's all I know. People suck.
It brings out the worst in people, not really the best.
Yeah.
And what's interesting,
even one of the panelists said it on Mills last week too, that, you know, when I come online and I come on these panels, I'm in debate mode, baby, and I'm ready to debate. Okay, well, great. But when you're walking into rooms that are having conversations and not necessarily having debates, and your whole entire goal when you come on is to debate, you probably carry that into real life as well. Now the whole damn world is in debate mode. Debate me, bro. Debate me, bro. Debate me, bro.
And they don't know what a debate is because they think anything that is contrary to what they believe is now a debate. And I'm like, no, it's just a disagreement. It's not a debate. There are some people who are just like, I'm not gonna. Well, I don't believe that. And you're just like, okay, cool. Yeah, I cooked you. Like, no, I don't.
Yeah,
I'm not
there.
forth. Like, the fuck are we talking about here? Right? I mean, a great example of people who try to do something well after getting hot is Mr. Beast. Here he is giving out money, getting people eye surgery and all kind of other shit. And what did the internet do? Flamed him for it.
Got his ass about it.
Flamed him for it. For actually putting his money into doing something good. We don't want good out here. We don't want you saving lives. We don't want you making the blind see again. Like, what do you mean? What's going on?
Dumpster fires are way more fun to watch.
No, I hate the phrase. I cooked this dude. And chances are, they don't even know how to make a sandwich. You go to their fucking kitchen and they fucking bread got mold on it. Like, what are we doing here? Everybody always talking about they cooking, but at the first, and in those areas where it's about that cook somebody. How you cooking when you always say you want a woman who can cook? Because you can't do it for yourself. I said what I said. If you mad, I said what I said. You know where to reach me.
You know what's interesting on this? This what we're talking about, the so-called debate me bros or debate me sis or debate me virtual personas don't understand that debates follow a set guideline of rules of engagement. So if you come in and you start talking over everybody or trying to impose, you're not debating. You're just being an idiot who's showing your idiocy to the whole world or to the whatever the people are in there. This being said, a conversation is one of the most human things that we can have. Not necessarily are we debating, but we're conversing over different ideas, different perspectives, etc. But we're not engaged on wanting to debate. We're wanting to just converse. We can agree, we can disagree, we can formulate in depth. So the thing is that nowadays, especially, and I've seen it a lot on the Anglo-American, I don't see that much in the Latin American side of it, but what the idea of engaging into a debate without establishing the base rules shows that person only wants to do is troll the whole thing up and not have anything more than just look at me. Look how capable I am of blowing everything up.
Great standard, by the way. Oh, sorry, not this one. Sorry. Great standard. That's all I can ask. Yeah. Just be yourself. Just tell the truth and try not to lie. That's my standard across the board all day, every day. Could I lie? Absolutely. Do I lie? I could. I try not to. Just try not to.
I lie all the time.
I know, sir. I know you lie all the time.
I lie all the time. Keep them on their toes.
Right.
Especially out here in the DR, you gotta lie. You gotta lie just as much as these lying as Dominicans do.
Well, there's only one YouTube street, right? But there's a lot of dark alleyways.
That's a fact. That's true. You gotta lie. You gotta keep listening. You gotta lie before they lie. You throw them off guard. I'm about to go out there and lie right now to one of them just because. No reason. Just because.
No, never answer questions online. You know it's a setup.
Oh, yeah. But I think debating is kind of pointless anyway. I truly think debating is pointless. I don't see.
Give me your thoughts on that. Why is it pointless?
Because all right, you got two people debating their ideas, and I guess the crowd is supposed to decide who wins the debate.
Yes.
That's the general.
Yes.
But the people who are there watching the debate already know who they like. So no matter what the other person said, they're never going to agree.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a standstill. It's like Democratic and Republican.
It's true.
Very
so it's like who actually wins? Yeah, who actually wins the debate? Nobody. You have the people on the left say, go ahead.
No, what I was going to say, and add into your point, if a debate happens online, my position is that it should have repercussions on the physical world in regards of what you are debating on, and if that is a policy or a judicial decision, etc., or economics or security or education or health, that at least the minimum is that conversation should have a continuous effect on the real world. But if you're just debating for debating, I agree with you. Because at the end, both sides are going to go home and nothing is going to happen to change whatever thing they're debating. You know?
Well, yeah, when there's no definition, there's no defined specific that this is a debate, and it's just a spurred out conversation or just Spurg Olympics in general.
Well, I agree with LA on the fact that a lot of these debate centered areas are really dry because people have their own people that they're with. I think the only way, and most people don't do this because let's just be honest, just becomes so convoluted, so overwashed with the same repetitive content, that the only way to really make it a fair debate about something is to have a particular conversation of something that people are not versed in on their content, that they don't constantly keep repetitively speaking. Like, I don't know. They got to start talking about freaking snowboarding or some shit like that. Like, I don't know. But you're gonna ask them. You're gonna ask them
all day long.
Yeah, you got to go on power tools.
Dude, we got like a half an inch of snow, bro, and I'm like,
we got to debate power tools. That's what we got to do.
That's why I love
only 30.
We can't have Uncle Fatty be one of the people debating. He's got to be the moderator. He's got to be the moderator. He can't be the one debating. He's got to be the moderator. So when somebody fuck up, he goes, actually, no, that tool doesn't do that because it does this amount of power. I know you're lying about that. We can fact check that right now. Like, but that's what we need.
Damn right.
But you got to take them out of their element and then see how even their favorites view them out when they're not in their element. That's how I think that would be more interesting than anything else. But that's not what we're going to see.
No, but
I said earlier, being willing and wanting to learn something new every day and want to experience different perspectives. This is huge. Guys used to have $10,000 ham radios to do what we're doing right now with a 30 to 45 second delay. To be able to talk to people around the world in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a very unique thing just for humanity in general. And we're the first ones that get it, figure it out and kind of set a standard, right? But with debate, we come to the table with credible cited sourcing. It's not about me and my feelings, and there's no asking, how do you feel about this subject? There's no feelings in debate, okay? There's none of that shit. You bring credible cited sourcing, and you let the credible cited sourcing speak for itself, and then whoever's listening gets to make their own determination of who wins. Because really, there's no winner, because we come to the table knowing that we all have our own perspective, and each perspective is unique and amazing and worth something and valid.
But also,
when we come to the table with you're evil, okay, you're wrong automatically, and you're a liar, okay, now
right.
I've already lost the debate, right? Because now I've created a bad faith situation. Now I'm coming in with the argumentative fallacy from the get-go.
Well, if you scored your debates, they'll be a lot better because, as LA said, you'll pick your favorites, right? But if they score the debate based on how well they know the information, their preparedness, that means they come with actual facts, which typically doesn't happen in a debate. so that people can get the sources, because the whole point of the debate is not only to see how skilled the debaters are, but also for the crowd to hear something that they haven't heard before. And the problem with these debates is that it's everything that everybody's already heard before.
It's a little,
That's the real big thing. If a person, even if it's conversation that we've heard before, the person who comes in more prepared for someone to challenge and say, well, no, I don't believe that. State your source. Here you go.
Did you see Mel whip up on my nephew yesterday?
I gotta rewatch it. I saw
a little bit of planning, bro. A little bit of planning, a little bit of.
But I gotta admit, when they started out, they did more agreeing than anything.
That's all it took for.
Yeah. But I mean, it wasn't bad for one of her first officials. Yeah.
You know, something in this sense, one of my best experiences to learn on debate was when I was pushing the project of law to legalize medicinal cannabis, and I had a presentation in Congress in my country, and the counter was was the second in command of a Christian congressman of that time. So the whole debate was him going against me, saying that we shouldn't legalize marijuana, that my ideas were stupid, blah, 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 blah. And here I was, and there were three things I did before that debate. I learned who the person was, who his name was, whose family was, whose everything was. That gave me elements to know how to face off. Then I knew in the line of thinking that person was at. So when I got to the debate, what I did is what I did best. I talked to the issue, not to the person. And I showed that the prejudice on this particular person was because of fear, not because of anything else. So the problem is that people
it's always
don't
fear.
realize. It's always fear, mostly always fear. But people don't realize that contrary to just a normal conversation, on a debate, you're becoming an agent to either push a change or avoid a change or go against a change. So this is why debate is a necessary element in the context of the real world. Because when you see two parts
For sure.
debating, there has to be something behind it. And that something is usually a project of law, something that will have a direct impact on day-by-day life of everybody in a particular nation or a particular region or a whole continent in that sense. So the problem with the virtual world,
public servant, right?
Yeah. The problem with the virtual world is fundamentally that you have a whole bunch of people wanting to debate, not have conversations, because the only thing they want to do is showcase themselves as, look how prepared I was, or
dopamine,
how unprepared the other. Yeah,
it's all about the dopamine.
In one way, yes, it's
straight
that
up
addiction to be applauded.
Yeah. Yep. Acceptance is everything that humanity has ever done. That's our goal, is to be accepted. Everywhere we go, everything we do, it's basically to be in some sort of form or acceptance or not, right?
Well, the world tries to push for acceptance, but in reality, the world doesn't owe you understanding. People have to work hard for that. The world doesn't care, though.
Right?
Like, it just in nature.
But we seek it. We sure as hell seek it, right?
Yeah, we don't learn about the nature of the world. Yeah, that's the issue. I think if even as a child, as an adolescent, like, you are taught like just the nature of how things are, even the nature of animals, rather than here you are as a early teenager talking about, why did the kitten attack that pigeon? Because that's what they do. You know, if you teach them that early enough, they're more prepared for even the social interaction, not just between creatures, but how people interact with each other. That there are going to be people who are just predators. No, I'm another human being. There are predators out there, even amongst your own. And you need to understand there are people out there who might eat their own.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either physically or metaphorically speaking. But you got to be aware of, you know, and most people are not taught that way.
Yeah,
and it's a disservice to them.
I was taught that way. I was taught that you have to smell. You have to smell before you even see the predator, and you have to listen towards the bullshitter, because the bullshitter is gonna cackle before they even speak.
This is a good topic I got into with a guy on the Tool Sphere a couple nights ago. Was giving kids fish. Right, making sure that kids have goldfish when they're growing up, so they can learn how to deal with death. Right, because we all know what it's like to lose a goldfish when you're young, right?
Yep, I do.
And that's, you know, we have this sheltered system of you know, each parent wants to have a little bit less, whatever it was, you know, for their kids, and whatever it is that was is usually like the hard shit, right? Dealing with the hard shit. We never go through life imagining our best friends and our family not being there.
One thing I do want to mention before I forget. One problem I see with virtual is that when you have panels with 6, 7, 8 people in the panel, that's no longer a debate. That's a group of people wanting to go against other group of people, or just a group of people going against one person that is questioning their beliefs, etc. And then that's a shit show that.
Well, I don't mind that. I don't mind that, because the more human beings that you get in, the more different perspectives there are. The problem is when you don't have someone who's willing to, quote, set boundaries. Instead, they let it be a free for all, because why? The screaming and yelling seems to be the thing that people want. And then later on, someone has to yell, guys, nobody can understand you. Well, if you set boundaries from the beginning, you'd have that. Jen, to answer your question, Mel's debate last night, there was a talk about Mel's debate, but apparently Fatty was the one who was going to be debating. So that's why I didn't bother. And I was hanging out anyway, so I just said, I'll just get some sleep. So it turned from me to go to Mel and Fatty, so I just left it like that. That's all.
Yeah, no, and you're right, Resla. That was the point I wanted to get to. The panels of this type of nature need a neutral moderator that is able to mute the mics of those who are boycotting the whole thing, who's able to keep people on that boundary, who's able to then say, person A, don't insult person B, or stop saying the things that are either discriminatory or insultive or etc. That can put order. So if the majority of panels had that, then the conversations with more than 4 or 5 people would be far more better, because you would have someone orchestrating, being the director of the orchestra, to say it that way. But normally they don't, because what they want is everybody screaming at everybody insulting everybody, and not and at the end the debate goes completely array, and goes into a screaming match.
I think the algorithm's trained on the noise level, where it's got something in the mic sensors that can tell when there's 8 people talking over each other, that it'll boost that stream out to everybody else and boost the numbers.
That's possibly it.
It's weird, but it happens. Especially when Andy's yelling at the 20-year-old girls on the whatever podcast.
Oh, fresh and fit kids.
I mean, like,
kids, yeah.
So
they're bastard.
The bastard kids.
Put a positive label on anything, and the algorithm ain't going to touch it. But you get real loud about it, you get real loud about it, man, it's getting pushed. But I will make a somewhat controversial statement and say straight up that the black panels, the black sector, has very respectful, not spurgalicious, not talking over and butting over on each other, and very respectful passing of the microphone, muting, making
Uncle
a point,
Patty,
landing your
I
fucking
don't know
plane,
how you
and
say that
getting
shit
on
with
to
a
it.
straight face. I don't know how
That's
you're
a
doing
fact.
that with a straight
I
fucking
thought
face.
I thought he was high.
I'm amazed right now that you're doing that with a straight face.
What I will say is there are panels that are like that over there, that there just aren't any over here.
I'm just going to say one thing.
Panels that are very, pretty tight. A lot of them
you point
aren't.
my way?
I'll say
I'd like
that.
to see that actually happen. You'd have to point to my way. I would love to see that actually work.
No, wait.
M3's got some good ones with
Exactly.
relationships, knowledge and relationships, I think is the page or the channel. It's
Fatty,
pretty mellow.
Quick question. Have you ever been in a panel of I'm gonna say this one.
Even Fatty's full panels will be decent.
Hold on, Fatty.
Okay.
Have you ever been in the panels of Cubans, Colombians, Venezuelans, Costa Ricans?
Yeah, we here right now.
Hang on. You chopped out a little bit. What was that?
Okay. Have you ever been in a panel of purely Cubans, purely Costa Ricans talking on the different issues? If you think that the great works of Anglo Afro-American panels is something great to be, amazed by, you have no fucking clue what happens in Latin America.
Oh, no,
yeah. Let me open up my door. You can hear it right now.
Yep.
Motherfucker screaming right now for no goddamn reason.
Dude, I'm going to tell you something. Me as a Latin American, dealing with the BS that happens in Anglo-speaking world, dude, the Anglo-speaking world is weak in regards of comebacks and in regards of throwing shade and hitting the elbow. You have no clue what strength of fortitude of self one needs in a Latin American panel speaking Spanish. You have no idea where those people will go. I mean, look,
I got a pretty good clue.
North Americans usually they will go for the arms. They will hit you on the legs. They will hit you on the sometimes center mass. But Latin Americans will go for the jugular, and right away, every single time,
stab your ass.
So for me, it's sometimes when it has happened and I've gone into panels and it's that screaming match. For me, it's so damn easy just to go turn the Spanish on and A, nobody's going to understand me, or majority of people are not going to understand me, and B, they don't realize that I'm insulting not only their mother but everything that goes before their mother. That's a Latin American way. So
yeah,
at the end, I tell you, all that I think is that the best benefit to have conversations is civility, is being able to sit down and listen to the other person, take notes of what they're saying, and
there to understand.
Exactly. And if we go to the debate part, then that's a completely different way of conversing. That is a formal. Right now, this is informal. But the formal way of debating, you need to be much more prepared and less emotional. You need to know to shut up, not interrupt, and when it's your turn to speak, expect the same courtesy given to you.
Well, this is what I agree with that was said earlier. It might have been LA that said that. I'm trying to remember. We were speaking for a while, but it's the idea when people are up here and they're talking, they don't really talk about what's really what it is. They just give it what they're feeling. Well, I felt this way. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I felt like you said this, or I saw something before and I felt like you said this thing. You don't really have any evidence. Like, to me, don't get on a panel and start arguing out a case that you can't even fully recollect and where you heard it from and what instances. Like I know some people, like, let's come up and they get, oh, I finally got my opportunity. Let my voice be heard. You know, maybe so and so creator. It was a rare opportunity. I didn't know they were going to be there. Let me hop up on the panel that talked about. Yeah, so you said. Well, where did I say that from? Oh, well, I feel like you're unprepared. If you were waiting for your opportunity, you should have had that in the chamber already. Like,
exactly.
Case. And most people they're not like that. So therefore, they say something and they're like, "Well, I didn't really say that." Well, I felt like that's what you meant. Well, no, then you should have asked for a clarifying question instead of accusing me. And a lot of that happens online. A lot of it.
Yeah,
bro.
We see that so much.
A strong argument does not start off with "I believe" or "I heard."
Mm-hmm.
Not a strong argument.
Look, the moment somebody tells me "I believe," my head goes into the whole bunch of languages I know, and I say three things in my head when somebody says "I believe." Bullshit, me estás jetoneando, merde, and then I go into that. All of them to just say in English, bullshit. They're about to bullshit me because they started the whole premise with "I believe" or "I feel." Fuck off. I don't care about what you feel or you believe. What I care is what you can put on the table and
it is, Con. It is. It's a thin line.
Oh yeah, it is a thin line. Extremely thin line.
Absolutely a thin line. You find a lot of them.
And
sometimes I gotta go debate some Dominican whores. I'll see you later on.
Oh, come on. Man. Not all Dominican women are whores. I know
where I'm at, they are. All right.
All right.
No, the best one everybody's using these days is, I'm pretty sure there was a study one time that said something about, okay, yeah, I win because I know more than you do. Appeal to authority bullshit. On a premise of, I'm pretty sure I heard a thing one time that said, that's not a strong argument. I heard a guy say it on the internet one time. It's not a strong argument.
So here's one of the things I won't say I wish, but here's one of the things that I find appealing, yet I find appealing about, say, Andrew Wilson's argument, right? It's annoying because it's a tactic he's used so much, but it's a great position to stand on, right? And that is the tactic of, you need to make your argument to me. Don't expect me to make your argument for you. If you have something to say it. Bring forth all your evidence. Don't say something and then when you ask me a question and think that I should answer it, I should give you ammunition. I'm not here to argue your point for you. I will say that is the one thing, the one debate tactic he uses. I'm like, I love that. Because so many people do that. Well, and they'll ask you, well, don't
nobody
you think
uses it against him?
There you go.
No, nobody uses it back at him either. So he gets caught in it.
I'm looking for that. He gets away scot-free. I see that. So I'm like, nobody's going to use the same shit?
Actually, well, for me, it's a daily thing in my work. You know, for me, I use those two terms. I'm responsible for the things I say. I'm not responsible for the way you understand them. If you cannot understand the arguments, you got to get yourself better prepared. And I'm not here to make your argument. I've already made mine. Make yours. See if it's better or if it sustains itself in a better sense than what I've put forward. So yeah.
Well, what about a comparison and running an analogy on that?
Look,
maybe we should probably double analogy it and then take it out to the furthest extreme and then use the Andrew tactic of So if I'm going to assume that what you're saying means this, and we can agree that if that's the premise that works, okay, there's too many ifs in that argument. It's not an argument.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's an appeal to emotion. It's an appeal to authority. It's like his tactics are superb. He really has a pattern about it though too that's getting recognizable.
Well, no, it's definitely recognizable. I'm just always astonished that people have not picked up on it, and they have not tried to develop a counter for it. I am astonished.
Although, you know, 22-year-old gals don't watch the internet too much, apparently.
That's true, but you do have guys who are, quote, in the debate sphere who are well known that they also they fall victim, and I'm just like, you were watching him. You how is it you don't study the person that? It blows my mind. Blows my mind.
Serotonin.
Do you know how?
Could be.
I'm going to ask the chat, and I'm going to ask both of you. Do you know how to identify a sophist? In other words, a sophist. You know what those type of individuals were called in all Greek, in the all-time Greek? They were called sophists, from the sophist schools. Those are the type of individuals that throw rhetoric in that line of trying to confuse the point, and they say, "All right, I'm going to test your consistency." Fuck off! Who the hell are you to test consistency? You know,
right?
And they throw the most absurd analogy or the most absurd type of extreme example. This is why my old teacher used to say, one of my teachers in philosophy used to say, that a sophist is a refined bullshitter who wants to confuse everything with the shit that they can think of before even dealing with the crux of the issue. So when people start going with that, you know that some may have some levels of education, some may not. Some may just have learned from hearing others. But you know that what they're trying to do is subject the whole thing to a spacious argument, and then go to the extreme, because then they will feel comfortable of showing inconsistency with the argument. And sometimes,
so by saying that, you're saying that we should just kill all dogs, that all dogs should just be killed. Is that what you're saying?
mm-hmm.
And why not just say that? Because are you saying that all dogs? Are you saying that all dogs are irrelevant and they should be killed because all dogs are going to heaven anyway?
Yeah.
Or
Andrew's really good at the extreme polar opposite arguments. Yeah.
Or are you saying that all dogs are cats because they have 4 legs? Is that what you're saying? That all dogs are cats?
I mean, they always land on their feet.
They always land on their feet?
Unless they're jumping in water.
I've thought about it from time to time. I haven't put a lot of thought into it, but I've thought about, like, if I ran into Andrew and if he really said something that I find with contention, what would it be? Because most of his parts, he makes them pretty solid, pretty salient. So I'm just like, you know, I really don't disagree with that. I really don't disagree with that. He hasn't. Again, I don't follow him, so I don't really know much. But from the things I see, like on whatever, I don't really know him much on too many other things he does. But in terms of like when he's on the whatever or like the small debates that he may have with other people, like I'm like, I don't necessarily disagree, because those people, they be fucking up. They be fucking up. And I'm just like, yeah, I got nothing to say. I'm pretty sure he's probably been on a debate with somebody and probably said something I disagree with, but I wouldn't know, because I just, like I said, I don't find him. I don't follow him. I don't subscribe to him. I don't know what he does.
He's actually a really good guy. He is. He's a great dad, and all in all, he's a great dude. He is.
Yeah, actually, the closest I've ever been, closest I've ever been in close to contact is the one time when Resto got him on the panel, because that's the closest incident I've ever been.
Oh, you mean this guy, Andrew, from a page called The Crucible, something like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him. He's a sophist. I've seen his techniques, and yes, he's a sophist. I mean, if ever a conversation happens between him and me, you'll see that I'm an anti-sophist. So you'll see me breaking down the whole category of how they do things, and you've seen me do that once in your panel. You remember when we were having the conversation in regards to migration?
Yes.
And you remember that I said, if migration is illegal, then remember what I tried to do in that moment?
You know what? Hold up a moment. Fucking snitch. I ain't say nothing. Go ahead. Snitch. Snitch.
Let's go.
You've been labeled, sir. Snitch. God
Let's
damn
go.
it. And before he opens his mouth, tell him to rewind to see what we said. Go ahead, snitch.
I'm going to tell Resla the following. One has to be loyal to the end or to the betrayal, whichever comes first, and usually the second one comes first. So if you're going to snitch, snitch.
Yeah. Either way, there's always a Crucible member watching too. So
possible.
I've had a couple good ones
possible.
with Andrew that were decent, decent enough. But here's the whole deal with all this debatosphere shit, right? You speak with a word of authority, really sarcastically, and you change the subject as often as possible. And when you do, you claim the win, and then you bail.
Yeah, that's the way I see it go a lot.
It's really,
it annoys me anytime people want to enter a debate and they answer questions with questions. That shit annoys the living hell out of me.
Oh, of course.
No, but that's a technique of the sophist. That's sophism right there.
Well, no,
the question.
But a lot of people believe that's the way you're supposed to debate, and they think they're being smart. And I always have to say, I need you to answer the question. Well, I'm answering the question. No, you're giving me a question. Answer the question, give context, and then you can ask me a question. And they get mad at me for clearing them up. I'm like, this is how communication happens. Just say you're not prepared.
Look,
you know?
it happened to me, and then this was a short one.
It's just a brain
I
cycle.
went into this page that we're talking about.
We know this
about abortion. So I come in. I'm in favor of legalizing abortion, and first thing the person does is ask me, "So you favor abortion?" And I said, "No, not necessarily. Why should I?" He did not understand the point,
right?
Because he said, "You're not answering my question." I am. My position on abortion, as the practice of abortion, is that I'm neither in favor nor against. What I'm in favor of is making sure that the accessibility of abortion is in a regulated, clear, legal framework where it minimizes the approach of organized crime. That's it.
Yeah.
Person cut me off right there because he knew that if he let me continue on that line, his whole argument would have fallen because I would have gone into the whole context. So that's a thing. Some people only want to parrot ideas, but they don't have depth to those ideas. They're so shallow that even the Dead Sea is even more deeper than that, than their argument.
They're just arguing for the sake of argument because they don't have an argument. Just heard somebody on the internet said it one time. Now I'm real upset about it. It's a bunch of bullshit. It was pretty cool cooking off with Kev the other day for I don't know.
I wonder how that went at the end, because I know you guys were really going at it for a while, and I was actually researching, but I was like, fuck, I got to get ready to go. I'm like,
we came to the table knowing that we are going to break bread after this conversation. Okay, we're going to continue to break bread and drink wine together. This isn't like.
But that's the funny part. Isn't that
You know.
exactly how tribal chiefs did it in order to disperse land and everything else? Isn't that how conquerors did it? We're gonna meet up in the neutral zone. We'll have these conversations. We're gonna drink mead, or we're gonna drink wine,
Right.
or whatever spirits, and we're gonna curse, and we're gonna have our advisors sitting sober in case saying like you shouldn't say that, like whatever the hell. And we gonna go through it until we say we're gonna divide up this
Kind of
land
wet willy.
by this way. Yeah, like we're gonna do it. I expect Uncle Fatty to get mad and change his background like 20 times, and I'm expecting the Kev to be like, I don't make that shit that you talking about. I'm expecting that.
That depends, because at the end, I'll tell you one thing. The majority of history has taught us that the most mortal enemies sit down and get drunk together in occasions and then decide for peace. In some occasions. In other occasions, they sit down, they drink together, and they kill each other. So it's kind of relative, depending on the mood they're at, you know? So,
I'll say this the same way how it should be used in conversation for debates, the same way how we looked at it in history when it came to war. So Napoleon said, amateurs talk about tactics. Experts talk about logistics. All your tactics doesn't mean shit if you don't have nowhere proper to plan, proper to land all your equipment. Where's the conversation going first? Not how you plan to debate. Where's it going? That's the most important part. Where is it supposed to end up in the end? Is it supposed to end up with a win, or is it supposed to end up with understanding where exactly it is? And most people never get that far. And this should be the first thing we're talking about. Just saying. You could say Napoleon lost, but he was very smart, nonetheless.
No, in fact, I'm familiar with that quote that you're saying in that. It's true. It's true. That's why I said earlier in this conversation, debates without a real connection to real world and its due effects in the real world is just throwing shit for shit. So
we're all really good at flying lessons, though, right? We can all fly a figure eight and a fucking loop-de-loo, but we've never practiced landing the plane once.
And I can do a 180 on inverse and do a 540 on the left.
Rodeo flip.
Listen, you two are good because all I can do is 69 a bitch.
Oh, dude, I can 69, 79, and 89.
And that's a technique all in its own. It's a refined practice. Practice makes perfect.
He brought it up. I just rolled with it. He went for the 69. He wanted to go with the 69. I go for the 69, 79, 89.
Everything else, no, just
nothing wrong with little face sitting.
Have you ever tried the 99?
No, sir. That sounds very complicated.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to injure myself. I gotta pay attention to my health. I'm not trying to injure myself. I get it. You do some Olympic type shit. For me, I haven't really competed that long, so I don't want to injure myself. You know.
Oh no, but I mean, right now I'm in my late 40s, mid 40s. Unfortunately, 99 is no longer something on the table, so I have to go to lower digits. I got to stay around the 89, the 79, the 69, the 59. But you know, probably in the next 20 years, I'll probably just do the 19 and the 29. So.
Look, I'm up to 119 already.
Damn.
Working on that 129. Shit.
The 129. Oh man, you. If you're doing the 129, sir, let me tell you, my complete hats off, respect. You know, no.
That's like transcendental meditation, right? You gotta like be in the zone and everything.
You know what? Let me ask you two a question. It goes into the content we were talking about here today. And it's, how do you differentiate between being civil and being submissive? Like, do you think that some people conflate the two? especially when they're in a heated discussion. Because
Definitely.
some people would turn around and say that, let's just say there's a heated conversation and I'm very quiet because I'm not yelling back and forth. They look at me as being submissive. When I'm being measured, I'm actually listening intently. What do you think about that?
I think
And
that
acting
depends.
cognitively and not just emotionally.
Yeah.
That's huge. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
In your question in regards of civility versus submissiveness, I think there's a line there about personality or assertiveness of the individual, capability of being of having that inner strength, or not having that inner strength. So I civility is a necessary tool in order to be able to engage and have that civility towards you back again. But is civility a route to to being submissive? Yeah,
Submissive.
say the
Yeah.
word. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is civility a route to being submissiveness?
Submissive.
No.
Yes, we got
Yeah,
you.
sorry.
You said no.
Not,
Okay.
I think
no, not necessarily.
like
but
you were
it
saying
can,
earlier,
depending on the person.
it comes down to perspective though, because it's in the eye of the beholder, and these real hardline ortho bros, whatever, are they're more tend to use the word submissive in their day-to-day rhetoric. I haven't actually spoke the word submissive probably today since I don't know how long. It's just not a word that I use or even think about in my internal dialogue. Like,
I guess.
Well, let's be
so
honest.
I think the
using those
submissive
words.
part is where.
I mean, think about it. Who plans on using those words if you're not referring it to a woman? These days, especially on the internet, who's using those words?
Basically, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
I think it threw people off.
It's seen as a thing because they're so hyper focused on their external, their act, their character, right? That, yeah, I don't even think of that.
So it threw people off.
In this sense,
I was in a conversation with one person. It was some time ago, but it threw them off because actually this was the first time I actually spoke to Speakeasy. This was the first time I really talked. I spoke with him. I hopped up on a panel. The guy that Resto, Resto's got his thing with. Yeah, exactly. So I hopped up on a panel, and it just so happened that he was there on the panel as well, and all the gentlemen that were there were, well, not all of them. I want to say there were probably 2 people that were there that weren't so religious, but they were all heavily, exactly, Resto. Who? So
who? Was that on a Friday night? Friday night panel? I have no idea.
This was some time ago. But the idea that when we came in there were a whole big conversation and there were debate back and forth, and I came in and kind of wrecked the entire panel. But when I was asking questions, but one of the questions that I asked, because someone was kind of pushing back on it, and I'm like, if you're religious, there's this weird negative connotation, this weird position when it comes to the word submissive. And I say, well, if you are claiming that, so the argument, just put it out there for the people who know, is that they were at a junction when I came in, they were debating the act of free will. And they were arguing about free will and why not have free will. No, wait, Dan, no, but they were arguing about free will. And what happened was I came in and I just said, you guys are all spiritual, but you're all arguing about the point of free will. I'm just gonna come in and just throw this question in there. Instead of you worrying about the free will, because if you have free will, you would all pick the same lifestyle. I don't know anyone who would pick hardship. So what the fuck are we talking about here? But if we're talking about free will, then what's the point of being submissive? Submissive, that was a big trigger word for them. And I say, well, yeah, aren't you submissive to the Most High? Well, it sounds like you're giving up your power. I said, you're not going to give up your power to the Most High? and it was keeping them stuck. Some guys immediately said yes, but there were some guys because they didn't like the word. I'm like, you're gonna push back against the Most High for the word submissive? If the Most High came to you and said submit, are you gonna have a problem? Well, Father, do I really have to do that? Yes, absolutely, without
That's too woke,
question.
man. Praise
And
God, man. Praise God, man.
I'm going to give you an example on this sense.
Sun, the stars, the moon, the dirt.
Yeah, I can't stand that.
I'm the type of person that is the least submissive person characteristics, because that's how my mama and my papa taught me. They were both extremely rebels. They were both extremely people who were not submissive.
I wish I saw that clip, Uncle Fatty. Thank you very much. I mean, I feel like I want to see that clip. Please, God, man. Damn it.
So, in that sense, I understand that there's personalities. And trust me, if I'm in a conversation or in a debate and I smell the other person that is weak in the sense that they are afraid of their own arguments, I'm going to jump with everything I have, and I'm going to bite hard on the jugular and not let go until I sense that there's no longer a heartbeat or even remotely any notion of consciousness.
I'll tend to run half a marathon around them just to fuck with them.
Yeah, well,
I would make them uncomfortable as fuck. I would.
Me too.
I'm not even gonna lie. I would.
Pretty much, I just like to run circles around people.
But when people try to do that against me, that's when shit goes loose, because I ain't submissive. I can read the moment somebody's trying to jump on my own jugular, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna defend.
All right,
and Resla has seen
making people uncomfortable and then pretty much begging for me to get them out of it. I'm not even gonna lie. I like making them uncomfortable. Like, can you give me a little bit of mercy? I'm like, all right, I'm fucking with you long enough. Okay, yeah, you're good. You're good.
Hey, Red. Hey, Red. I'm kind of tired.
Yeah, I do enjoy that from time to time. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let you go. I've been watching you long enough.
No, I'm just fucking.
Like, I'm fucking with you. Yeah, I've done that to people. I've had people almost in tears, like, he's not gonna let me go. I was like, no, I'll let you go. No, I'm really offended. I'm really fucking offended. And they were just like, yeah.
That free will topic sure is a doozy over there with the orthos, because it's.
Listen, I didn't even expect it, but when I say I killed it by asking them those simple questions right in the middle, and I'm not gonna lie, a lot of those guys, they reached out to me like, yo, that was a good way to disrupt. And I said, I wasn't disrupting. Y'all were all arguing about it, but nobody was getting down to the comment. Because in my mind, when we have these conversations about all these different topics, I like having the conversation and arguing out until we can get to the one core question that we can all say, I ain't got an answer.
Yep.
That's the important question.
That's when you're getting down to shit right there.
There you go. Most people don't get that far. And that's why when I think about these topics and I try to get into, I'm like, can we have a conversation where we can get, because that's where real common ground is, because now you all reach that. You all reach the promised land question. Like, how do we Yeah. And most people don't get that far because we have disruptors. We have people that come in and say, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about big booty bitches.
Yep.
Like throwing it all off. Like,
that woman.
Oh my God! Oh God! You're so wrong. You're so wrong. You're so wrong.
Look, those type of moments are as rare as seeing an alien orgasm.
What? What?
Yeah. Okay. I can.
What kind of alien? The green, the silver type? Which one?
Any type. You choose. It's ritual.
Hit the like button. What alien type? What are we talking about here? How do you know they orgasm? Have you seen the private parts of an alien?
That's why I'm saying it's those moments of where the conversations reach that point of everybody going, it's as rare as seeing an alien orgasm. So choose the type of alien, choose the biology of that alien. You choose anything. It's up and open for imagination.
Here's the thing, though, about that. Biology only stems towards what we see it as. We don't know what they have. We don't know if they see things as male and female. We don't know. For all we know, they touch and they replicate. We don't know.
Resla, you are a man of anime, right? You like anime.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're in an anime household. Yes, absolutely.
Good. You should recognize this.
I do not.
It's from an anime called No Game No Life.
No, I don't know it. I don't know it.
That's a hell of a recommendation. But the new anime you should watch now that we started talking about aliens and orgasms. Dan the Dan.
Okay. All right.
Watch the 4 episodes. The next time I come up, we're gonna have that conversation about that. Dan the Dan.
You also said no game, no life.
No game, no life. Yeah. But see, what just happened with that question?
You know what's so crazy about the whole shit? Like, I haven't watched a good anime in a while. My girl's ahead of me on anime. She's been talking to me about Bleach, about the new shit. I said, I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's decent, the new Bleach, but you know what? Are you a One Piece man?
I'm not. She is. I've never been into One Piece. Just never.
Dude, you gotta get into it right now. You have to get into One Piece right now, especially because they're coming out with a new remaster of the Romance era, plus the post time skip, the Fishman Island arcs. You gotta get into it because it's about to finish in the next few years, and if it right now nobody knows what the hell the One Piece is. It's worth it. And dude, they just came out with an episode, the fan letter. Dude, I normally don't get teary-eyed when I'm watching shit.
Teary-eyed, this man over here.
Yeah, I fucking got teary-eyed, and I know guys who are more rough-looking like me who love One Piece who got teary-eyed on that fucking episode, the infamous, yeah. But going back to the point.
You know what? Fuck you, Ruck. Fuck you.
Nerds.
Hey, Ruck.
Tell you what, though. Every time Forrest and Jenny come together in the pond, and
this nerd,
he yells out, Forrest, and she goes, Jenny.
Hold on.
Dude, every time.
Ruck, this nerd is did martial arts, played running back on high school, played left wing on football, and also played ice hockey. Out of my 10 fingers, I've broken at least 8. I have dislocated shoulders, etc. This nerd could run around you in spirals, make you twirl, and then realize that you got your whole world shooken in every sense of the word. So yes, I'm a nerd.
Nerds.
It's so funny how we can turn around and start calling each other nerds now. Like, we forgot about the geeks. Because I was a geek. I wasn't a nerd. And now everybody's just classified as nerds now.
I'm both. I'm a geek and a nerd. Because geek is interest in scientific.
I've always been techie. I haven't been sciencey. I've been techie. There's a difference.
I've been both. I've been techie and sciencey.
I'm not sciencey.
Talking about it. Dr. Stone. Watch Dr. Stone. You're going to love that show. Yes. Watch Dr. Stone. So watch Dan 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 and watch Dr. Stone and get into One Piece. That's my recommendation right now. And then if you can watch
Dan and Dr. Stone, okay, I'll look for them.
Yeah.
I'll look for them.
But going back to the point of the conversation, you were saying that you are extremely, which I have no doubt of, and I consider you an equal in that sense, that you are able to make people uncomfortable. But look at me. I just threw the alien question, and what happened? And that's what I'm good at. You know, it's like,
yeah, because I tell people all the time, like, even when we're on the porch, we do things like conspiracy Wednesdays and everything, and then we get all over the place. So a lot of it really gets to the ice wall, but we go all over the place with, as long as the content turns out to be very entertaining. Is it very difficult? You know what's so funny? As much conspiracies as they are, there's not a lot of conspiracies as much as we think that there are. most of us have conspiracies about the same things.
Yeah, it's all an echo chamber.
Yeah, there's no new conspiracies, like no really good conspiracies that we can just keep getting on. It's always the same stuff. We're just recycling it.
Pretty much.
So I got a conspiracy for you. It's my own.
Oh boy.
It's called
wait, hold up, Uncle Freddy. This man's over here starting trouble. He said, Resla, hypothetically speaking, what would you like to talk to Andrew about? Asking for a friend. Fucking liar. I don't know. I see Andrew really only talk about theological stuff. And basically trampling on women that are almost less than 30 years old of age.
So I
really don't know. I really don't know what I would talk about. I really don't know what he really covers, to be honest with you. And I don't know. I guess I would want to talk about something that will be outside of the normal wheelhouse, whatever the fuck that is.
I got an idea. If ever that happens, and I can contribute, I would have a conversation with Andrew regarding.
Might offend me. I mean, he can. I can't think of many ways that he would offend me because he would have to actually know me. So that would be interesting.
So here's my suggestion: democracy, the republics, the era of independence on the Western Hemisphere, and its meaning to modern day reality. The implementation of human rights via the international laws, the difference of the conceptions of human rights between Greco-Roman normative laws versus common law.
Straight up, that's his weak suit.
Mm-hmm. And in fact, on the human rights part, I would debate
everybody gets to have their own perspective, and thou ought not do what I think that you ought to do.
I would challenge on the perspective that the common law perspective of human rights is completely and utterly erroneous, and it's subjected to arbitrary impositions that mean absolutely nothing. That as long as the United States does not sign and ratify the international instruments of human rights that have originated via the United Nations, then their conversations in regards to human rights is as empty as a barrel of rotten
By
apples.
the way, I agree, James. I know people in the forensic field. They want me to get into it. I'm just not ready to work that close to law enforcement. But yeah, I know people in the forensic field. They're like, yo, you should really do it. But I literally, when I say forensic field, I mean like going like homicide, like things like that, like really. So like,
do you have any background in criminology?
No, it's more. Do I really want to say that? Because technically, my certifications are not in that. But I would think it would be closer to financial crimes than anything else. Not necessarily like
That's one line of forensics. I mean, obviously, people only think about forensics from the we found the body and the CSI type of thing. But no, dude, financial forensics is phenomenal because you're not attending a death, but you're attending a line that is so.
Oh, but here's the thing. I don't mind death. I don't mind blood. Listen, when I worked as a tech, when I was actually a field, not even a field tech at that time, I worked in the hospital. Our tech lab was right next to the morgue. We would see dead bodies all the time. I'm comfortable around bodies. I'm comfortable around blood. I hate to say it, but I am very much not used to, but I am very much aware of what the smell of blood is. So like that's something
we used to do suicide cleanups on properties. With my old remodel company.
Oh no,
that was pretty hardcore, bro.
Damn,
that was pretty hardcore.
Yeah, I did a stint 2-3 years as a assistant for detectives and for CSI.
Nice.
And I did clean up myself, so I got extremely used to.
Lawrence, I absolutely have
the smell.
Absolutely.
My dad's best friend was a mortician, and as young boys, me and his son would run around the frickin' the funeral home when we were being babysat and shit. And like, it's probably, I think we were probably about 10. I was trying to figure this out. It was probably about 10 or 11.
How old was the first time you saw and smelled a dead body? What was the first time in your life?
Can't even remember. It was so young. Like,
yeah, I was super young.
Just around it, you know, and just didn't even
around
really ever.
Way more dead people than weddings. Let me just say that. I can count weddings on one hand. Funerals, beyond double digits.
Me too. Double digits. I was young myself.
Speaking of which, weekend after next, I will be ordaining the 20th gay wedding of my spaghetti monster career.
20th?
Good stuff.
Wow.
20 gay couples.
Wow. Okay.
In a red state, because, you know, love
that's
always
something
wins.
that I have never done. I have never ordained in any way, shape, or manner, because obviously I'm an atheist, but I've never had the opportunity of
Lawrence is out here starting trouble, and the truth of the matter is I don't know what happened. I was just told that I insulted them, and when I asked them how I insulted them, they said they didn't know. That's all. You're a troublemaker.
How the hell does a person tell you
you've
insulted me, and then I don't know how you insulted me?
It's so, hey, hands up, don't shoot. I don't know.
Say hello to my little friend.
Good people on both sides.
Good people on both sides. You know, if I'm telling somebody you insulted me, I'm telling you insulted me because you said this, and that. I don't know. I don't know the person. I don't know the context to which we were speaking, but that particular aspect really is like, what? Huh?
I'm ready. Just tell me what the subject matter is. I'm ready, Retso. I'm ready. I am ready. Just let me know. That's all.
And really, honestly, if you want to debate with Andrew, all you gotta do is ask. He's pretty accommodating.
I wouldn't even know what to debate about, to be honest with you.
Again, the proposal's there.
Here's what I tell people all the time. I'm not a debater. I'm a conversationalist. I'm really
not calling me a debater? Bro,
like I'm not. I just really have conversations, and that's it.
I'm both. A conversation.
No, you're calling me. No, you just called me. I'm not a debater.
Okay, sir. You're right. You're not a debater.
It's so easy for people to take stuff out of context on these panels, isn't it? I mean, it's almost as bad as text messages sometimes. Where like the intent is just completely just.
No, at least on text messages you can derive certain context out of it. But remember the broken telephone game?
Mm-hmm.
Now that
is gone.
He said broken telephone. It's just telephone, sir. It's all fucked up.
Praise God, man.
No, like I said, my proposal for a debate on Andrew is democracy, the republics, the history of the independence of Western Hemisphere, and the implementation of human rights in the last 74 years, and the comparison or the analysis between what common law conceives as human rights and what Greco-Roman normative law considers or applies as human rights, and especially on the lights of the non-signature and the non-ratification of the Convention of the Inter-American Convention on Human Rights, 69, or the Pacto San Jose.
I want to answer 2 points that Lawrence has put up. The first one is that he says you can debate Andrew about God. Honestly, I don't think I can. I think he would wash me in the conversation. Because the thing about me is like, yes, I have gone through the Bible, but I am not. I don't think I'm that heavy in it. To be honest with you, most of the time when theist topics come up, they come spur of the moment. So it's like bad music. I remember bad songs. Like I'm not sitting here thinking, I don't have it on point. Like Psalms, I'm not Leviticus. Like I'm not. It would really have to come up to me naturally.
I get caught up in that with Andrew as well, and I'm just so not into using the Bible as ammunition.
Yeah, and
it's not a box of ammo, and we can all pick, something out of it to use against somebody else, but that's not what the book's for.
Yeah, he said you can debate Andrew on masturbation is sin or not. Here's the truth of the matter. I don't really care.
It depends.
Yeah, I don't care.
Are you masturbating on the roof of your house while you live across the street from a school? And are you masturbating at 12:30 in the afternoon when the kids are out at recess on your roof?
He's going to say...
Because that's the argument that Andrew will make about masturbation. Should we allow people to just masturbate openly in the middle of the street? Because they already are, apparently. Right? They're everywhere masturbating. People are masturbating everywhere. So does that mean that you don't believe that there's any personal anonymity?
It wouldn't matter if you were masturbating in your sock underneath your bed. It'd still be a sin. If it wants to go that far. But I don't know.
Can we agree that if God is the so-called thing of God is all-knowing and all-seeing, and that you're in your own house in your own privacy, and yet that so-called God knows that you're enjoying the foreskin, playing the football, that God is a pedophile or either also a voyeuristic.
He loves hoes. Andrew would agree. Andrew would agree. Jesus loves hoes. Andrew would agree. We wouldn't be on opposite ends of that.
I'm gonna be honest. A conversation regarding God is the most boring BS everything. I'd rather have a conversation
to many people, they love to debate that stuff.
To me, yes, clarified on that sense. But I think that the most a more interesting conversation would be the negative or positive aspects of the imposition of Christianity, Islam, or Judaism, or any of those Abrahamic religions in politics. I would stand on the negative. I would stand on that Christianity, Judaism, Islam, or any Abrahamic religions, or any other religion mixing with politics is the surefire route for destruction, for tyranny, and Christianity is evil when mixed with politics.
Yeah, you could cook for a couple hours on them with that. Let them get about 12 oughts in there of what we ought to be doing before you ask them, well, in America, don't we have the right for everybody to worship their own version of their own God? And you telling people what they ought to do is kind of like being a dictator, isn't it?
Kind of is.
And then you're into another 2-hour conversation of purgatory and you being a degenerate and your God being worthless and everybody that doesn't believe in his God burning in the lake of fire for all of eternity.
And even a better conversation.
That shit doesn't work
for
me, bro.
Why is God looking at everybody who's masturbating?
I can't.
Yeah. Exactly.
Why? Riddle me that
exactly.
One. Why is God so interested in every single human being of the 8-point-some billion today that are masturbating? But the question is, has that God has been seen every single human masturbating? So that means every single modern day humans. Or one interesting question: how did the Neanderthals masturbate? Hold on. How did the Homo habilis masturbate? How did the Neanderthals masturbate? How did the Denisovians masturbate? Or is he just watching the Homo sapiens?
Well, here's my thing I need to talk about with them, because this is a conversation that popped up in many weird spaces. Well, not weird spaces. It's a conversation that came up in space. So there's two questions to that. The first one is the more innocent one, and that is sodomy still a sin if you're doing it with your wife? It didn't say between man and man. It said sodomy. So if you're doing it with your wife and she likes it because you're supposed to please your wife, is it still a sin?
There are verses that say, please the wife, and that's boy, we could go back and forth on that for a couple hours probably.
Yeah. So you have that, and I'm gonna go out there for the guys who are willing to experiment a little bit further than most men I think would. If you're pegged, but you're pegged by your wife. Are you gay?
Oh, you're gay, bro.
No,
Straight gay, bro. Straight,
No, I'm
you're
sorry.
gay. This too gay.
I'm gonna say it this way. One thing I know of my preferences is pegging is off limits for me.
It's your wife. It's not your brother. It's your wife.
Look, even my wife
going to the doctor for a prostate
even
exam,
my
bro.
wife.
They're afraid of a prostate exam. Come on.
If you can't get checked to save your health because someone might be in that booty hole, you gay? You gonna say, when you give me the test result, doctor, can you look me in the eyes? Can you look me in the eyes? I feel weird.
Hey, when we're tag teaming your wife, don't fucking look me in the eye when we're high-fiving each other, okay?
He's like, yeah. You're like, wait, if I'm tag teaming someone's wife, I shouldn't give them the fist bump? I shouldn't? Like, no, just no.
No eye contact. That's rule number 1.
Damn.
Rule number 2, refer to rule number 1. But it's got to be your wife, though, right? Because
wait, hold up. It's going to get really bad. It's going to be really bad, folks. It's going to be really bad.
Keys in the basket.
So if you say, if a guy says, if the tag team and the wife, right, and the guy says, you cannot nut in my wife, and he pulls out quick enough, but it hits you in the leg, are you allowed to get mad?
Nah.
Okay. The golden rule.
Don't get pegged.
Hold on.
Don't get fucking pegged.
Exactly.
That's gay, man.
You invite him in that threesome. If it hits you in the leg, can you get mad?
Okay, hold on, Resla.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Golden Bridge Rule?
No, I have never heard I've only heard of Golden Showers, not Golden Bridge Rule.
Okay, the Golden Bridge Rule states that as long as the bridge is in a,
I'm just saying, Uncle Patty. I'm just saying, like, can you get mad? You was doing everything right with him.
Okay. Look,
if the other guy is a hall pass, then absolutely not. If it's a hall pass, always gets immunity.
If it's a hall pass to be in the woman, but he doesn't have a hall pass and he pulls out quick enough and it just happened to sprinkle on your leg.
Look. The Golden Bridge Rule states that if an accidental disperse happens to hit one of the posts, that it's okay. You just grab a handkerchief and clean it off.
Oh, nah.
Nah, dude. Y'all might do that shit where you from, man.
It can happen. But if that accidental spurt happens and it lands anywhere in your mouth or anybody else
in your mouth, what the fuck, sir?
It can happen.
That is gay. What
it
the
can happen.
fuck?
I'm not saying it happened to me. I'm just saying that if it happens, then you got an issue. I mean, I'm gonna say it honestly. I personally, my preference, I don't like pegging. Hell, I have a hard time going to the doctor checking the thing. But
D, was she a female? Was it a female or a male doctor?
On that type of circumstance, I only go to male doctor, man. I ain't gonna. I'm sorry.
Sir, that is gay, sir. Sir, that is gay.
No, I'm sorry. I feel more comfortable with a guy checking my urethra than a woman. It's just me.
There's no way in hell I'm gonna have some dude peg me with his finger. Now, do they use Vaseline or they just spit on it?
It's the same thing. Would a woman go check her vagina with a male doctor or a female doctor? So again, it's a question of preference. Let's keep it on that clear. I mean, it's not a question of if I'm afraid of that doctor checking my urethra with his finger. It's that the guy is a guy and at least knows in a better sense.
I gotta ask. When he's done with it and he's giving you results and you're sitting down in the chair where your parents finally up, does he look you in the eyes when he's giving you the results?
Hey, dude.
It depends. If it's letting me smoke, then I'll look at him at the eyes.
I was just about to ask you, were you smoking afterwards?
The condition is I'm gonna need to smoke afterwards.
Up there 5 years ago.
If I don't have a smoke, then it's forbidden to look at the eyes. But if there's smoke,
did you get the doctor smoke? Hey, D, did you get the doctor smoke?
I'm saying if the condition is met where the smoke is real, then we look at each other's at the eyes, and I'm fine with that.
Yo, he
But if
said
the
you gotta
condition
pull the
is not
trigger out for
met,
both of them.
I'm sorry, it just doesn't go.
Oh shit. Okay.
Was it a Cuban cigar? Was it a Cuban cigar or cigarette, sir?
Again, if the condition is met, be it Cuban cigar,
The
being a
condition,
cigarette,
man.
etc., I'm good with looking at the eyes. But if the condition is not met, then most preferable not. Let's not look at the eyes.
Did you break out a
No
sweat,
eye
sir?
contact ever.
I don't know. Did you?
No, I've never been checked, sir. Did you break out in a sweat? Let's not.
Wait.
We're concentrating on you, sir. Did you break out in the sweat?
How old are you? Are you on the 40s? You gotta get
Yeah. I'm older than you
I'm
guys.
sorry. It's gonna be unavoidable, my friend. It's gonna be
Sir,
unavoidable. You're
I
gonna be in
have
that
avoided
situation.
it. I've avoided it my entire life. It ain't happening. No, sir.
It-
Not
Get
even
your
with
old
a
lady to
female.
do it, bro.
happen.
Get
You
the old
have
lady to
to
do
do
it
it.
one night.
Nah,
have
fuck
to do
that,
it.
man.
You
Nah,
don't have
y'all
to tell
might want
anybody.
Look,
y'all if y'all getting that shit done and you talking about get your old lady to do that. That's some suspect shit, man.
brother.
Wait,
I'm
wait,
sorry.
I mean, at least once a month, right?
lock. So you're saying it's inappropriate if your woman is checking it out for you? That's
Nah, man. Nah,
nurse,
I don't play that
nurse,
way, man. No,
nurse.
sir.
She making sure that you're not about to die on her because she's checking out prostate. Are you saying you have a problem with your what? Is it gay if your woman's doing it? We're not saying your
Sir,
woman.
I'm not having no woman stick anything in my ass, but a dude definitely. Fuck no, dude. Nah,
Dude,
no, sir, no, sir.
Sir, that dude's a trained professional.
My friend. My friend.
A trained professional to turn your ass out, inside and out, right?
Hold on, Luckman.
Fuck that.
I'm gonna be very sincere with you, friend. The day that you start peeing like a broken hose. Hold on. The day that you start peeing like a broken hose, that you start going like that, and you haven't checked your urethra, dude. I'm sorry, but I'm warning you that there's a fire right there, man. At a certain age, we guys gotta comprehend one thing: to avoid having to piss like this.
What the fuck, sir? What are you doing,
dude?
Hold on, sir. I missed it. Can you do it again? I didn't see that.
So
show me one more time.
If you have to pee like this, huh? If you're throwing your piss like that and you're 40, you're a problem. You're a problem. I'd rather have a continuous, blow on it.
Again. Hold on. What was that hand gesture?
What about when it comes out in 3 streams?
No. He had.
I'm gonna ask you. Okay, again. I know. I'm gonna entertain you on this one.
I'm driving, sir.
I'm gonna ask you again, my friend. Are you peeing like this? Just imagine this is your penis hole right here. Does it come out like this? Or does it come in a long streak?
Nah. That's like you got something going on. Nah.
No. If it comes out like this, you got problems. And
you're right.
I don't know, Lauren. I don't know. That was wild. There. That's crazy. Yeah, God save the queen for sure. That was wild.
Oh my God, dude. D, you know this is forever ever, right?
Oh yeah, I'm okay with that, man.
Nah, that's cool, man. To each his own, brother.
But again, brother, you're not gonna be able to avoid it. You have to go get the finger up there by a professional.
No, I'm avoiding it, sir. That's my choice. Look, I'm avoiding it. I'm dying. I'm dying. Huh? I said I'm dying, yo. I ain't nothing going up there, bro. Nothing.
Bro, the day that your pee starts coming out, the way I described it, 1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shot in a space of 1 minute each, that's the day you're gonna realize you're gonna prefer having that finger by a professional checking you up there, male or female, because it's gonna hurt and burn you like a motherfucker. Bunch.
Yo, I'd rather just stick a straw up my fucking goddamn pee hole, man. Ain't nobody putting any shit in my fucking ass, man. Not at all. And Fatty, Uncle Fatty, I love the blue waffles. You guys know what the blue waffle is?
go.
Look it
Yeah, we know
look,
about that leaky, nasty
look
shit,
it up
sir.
sometime.
Yeah, I
We
know.
know.
Look
We
it up.
know. That
Yeah.
nastiness. Yeah, I'm very much aware of that shit.
Oh my.
I'm
Oh,
aware.
yeah. Yo, that's some wild shit, D.
Listen.
I'm a wild,
All
wild
right,
man.
sir. He said, some of y'all need to get your checkups.
Some of y'all, but not this one. Not this one. No, sir. Damn.
Oh man,
I
can't.
honestly hope, Lucksmith, that those are not your last famous words.
Not
What's
this
that?
one.
Yeah, not this one. Yeah, for real, not this one.
I do sincerely. I mean, if you want to blame
I
about,
did nothing, sir. I'm
Dude,
innocent.
you cannot convince me to get something in my ass. That ain't happening.
okay, here's the thing.
Convinced,
Hold
What
on,
the fuck we doing?
hold
Who
on,
is this?
hold on.
Go ahead.
Since, let me
He
go
said
back to the
convinced.
conversation of God. If we want to blame somebody of a bad design of putting the one of the major tools in regards to how we pee on the backside, blame intelligent design. Who was so stupid enough to put that shit on the back and the only access through the behind? I mean, let's face it. That's not intelligent design. That's a torturous design.
For some of you.
Well, for you,
Yeah.
you're the one who hasn't gone checked up. I've gone and checked up with the doctor. So
How
you
many
know,
how many
I-
dates did you had, D?
huh?
How many dates did you have with that doctor, sir?
Dates? No
Yeah, I
dates.
mean, y'all had a smoke
That
afterwards,
was
right? I mean, to me, that's like a date.
no. I was responding to the question of Resla.
I can't stand him. Why?
I was responding to the question of Tesla. If afterwards I would look at him at the eye and I said the only condition is give me a cigarette at least.
Did you guys lock eyes, sir?
No eye
No.
contact, bro.
I said if there was a cigarette involved or a, whatever, I would lock eyes. But on the circumstance, it didn't happen.
But listen, but
Because
if
I
he's
can't
doing it
smoke
right,
in a hospital.
but if he's doing it right, and he goes, if he's doing it, like you say, he got one finger in. He goes, did you go back to look, I lock eyes with
Well, if the doctor is in there and he goes,
what you go for, huh?
Did you guys go for a beer afterwards?
I think that would be the most normal reaction. If a doctor with a finger up there and he goes or she goes, I think the 99% of us is going to turn around and say,
is never a good sign, bro.
Yeah, that is going to mean me turning around and saying, what do you mean,
He missed. He missed. He's got to do it again, sir.
How the hell is that going to? Where else is? Where is that person going to miss? There's only one hole.
Wait. No. Because what if they go and they said, I don't think I can get further enough. I need a camera.
D. So what did they do? Did they put Vaseline on it or did they spit on it?
That's why I always advocate to have the old lady do it. Yeah, just have your old lady do it. It saves all the time and
does she know
it's real easy.
I'd rather have it done by a professional.
Or has she just been looking for an opportunity to be in your ass though?
I'd rather have it done by a professional, a doctor, somebody who has gone through college and knows what they're doing and looking for.
Listen,
because your lady can fuck up.
I'm not even against that, right? As to what you said. You rather have a doctor do it, but you said you rather have a male doctor. The female doctor is just as trained. It probably won't feel awkward.
It's just that to me, as somebody else, in that extremely vulnerable situation, I'd rather have a male doctor who also has to do the same exam for themselves with another doctor who knows what the male body is. So I'd rather have it like that. It's not that I do not trust a female doctor doing it. It's just I feel me personally as an individual, I feel more confident. I did it when I was 3 years ago when I was 40.
And you'll feel comfortable afterwards smoking the spiff with the doctor who's a male but not the woman?
Well, normally you can't smoke in the hospital, but if the condition of smoking happens, and the smoke happens, and we lock eyes, I say, "Thank you for trying to take care of my health. It was not enjoyable having you up there, but all right."
So you guys keep beating them around the bush. I'm asking you a very specific question, D.
Sir, there's
Did
no
they
bush.
spit or did they use Vaseline?
It's just normal ass lube that they use, hospital grade lube.
I don't know. Is it axle grease or some shit? What do you got down there?
Water-based
Sir,
KY,
there's
bro.
petroleum,
water-based.
Come on.
Yeah, it's
Now-
water-based, and they use a glove, obviously.
Yeah, or if that's not good enough, they got the Diddy Slitty.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
That
Have you
offering
feeling
was
really
an optional
No,
thing.
Do you still remember the event, Disto? Or was there GHB in it?
No, I remember vividly the event. No GHB on it.
He said vividly.
Did you guys, you and the doctor go out for a beer afterwards?
No. No.
Sir, the beer was supposed to happen before, not afterwards.
I mean, look, Luxman, if you have a doctor you trust that way, and that after the exam you and that doctor go out for a beer, I'm okay with that. Yeah, go for it. But on my condition, I went to a professional. They did the job. They told me I was fine. I was 40 years old 4 years ago, 3 years ago. And that's because I turned 40, man. Right now, let's be honest. Every man has to do that exam at least once they turn 20 and once they turn 40 and then when they turn 60.
So you would go have a beer with that doctor afterwards if he wanted to?
I don't know. Would you?
It sounds like a beginning of a great relationship.
Well, I mean, it's doctor taking care of my health. If
I feel you.
I know.
I mean, no, I don't feel you, but yeah, I understand.
I mean, shit. If that doctor avoids me having cancer up there, I mean, again, we go back to the stupidity of that so-called intelligent design. Who is so idiot to put that necessary instrument through the access of one hole through the behind? I mean,
yeah, God is a sadist.
Most definitely.
For sure.
Which God?
But why would they offer? Go ahead.
Just don't ever look over at the doctor and say, "What do you think, doc? Pretty tight, huh?"
Hey, so did you have
leakage? That is just if the doctor turns around and puts his finger and said, "That's pretty tight," that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy.
Okay, hold on. If the doctor turns around and says that's too tight, I would take that as a compliment and a proof that I've never used that. Because if it's tight,
I would not want any compliment. I would rather say the and shut the fuck up.
Oh, wait.
Commentary.
I think I'm
looks
more.
Up and says, virgin, huh?
Or work. Or the opposite of that, Dan. The opposite is can't really get a good feel. I need 2 fingers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now that will be extremely questionable because what can you do with 2 fingers that you cannot do with 1? I mean, it's not. I'll grant you that one. That is, in the lanes of where
covering the territory quickly.
Hold on. Where is some? Oh no! If the doctor says I need to go for 5 fingers, now I'm worried. Or if he goes, shoot, I need my fist up there.
It's like throwing a hot dog down a freaking subway tunnel. Hello.
Is anybody out there? Hello.
The gynecologist probably does say that to someone. I've seen how wide those clamps hold the bitch open. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you gotta see when I get done.
I imagine once they get that clamp long enough, if they do this, it sounds like a fucking seashell. Like I can hear the ocean. All right.
I'm gonna say that this.
Yeah.
Okay. If I see the doctor doing this.
Hello.
I mean, if I see the doctor doing this and this, that's where I'm gonna start worrying.
That's not your worry. Your worry is if he's squirting on the lube and he does.
Even worse, if he goes.
Keep going.
Just give me the hot to dog. I'm used to it.
He don't even have the regular gloves. He's sitting on there pulling on the fucking big mitts, the big rubber ones. Like he's doing fishing and shit. I'm like, nah. I gotta go.
He washing paper plates.
He probably does.
Yeah. That's crazy, man.
Said no comment from the peanut gallery. Oh, don't tell me you had someone lube all the way up. Damn. Just put the whole tube on. Just lubed up to the elbow.
You're gonna need the bovine glove for this one.
Told you to bend over. So no, that's not good enough. We need you to touch your ankles. Jeez.
Why people at Locksmith don't go to the doctor because then they take this as seriously. Locksmith, go get your shit checked. In old honesty, go get it checked by a doctor. I mean, at least it gives you sanity of mind, man.
Yo, I don't have any problem with the pressure of my stream of piss coming out.
He said they don't put in the surgical gloves. They get the kitchen. The kitchen
what's gonna happen in the next
kitchen washing gloves. Oh no. Listen,
I mean, good.
Say what you got to say. Oh man. Listen, we need some medical experts up here. I need a medical. Where Mama at? She a medical expert. Where Mama?
Yeah, but Lauren dressed up as a nurse in that, ain't she? No, that's a fucking unicorn hoodie. Yeah, never mind.
I mean, if you think that unicorn's going to save you, sure. If you want to get that up your ass, Locksmith, for me, I'm sure Lauren will probably volunteer for you.
Nothing going in my ass. Trust me on that.
It's to save your life.
I'm dying.
Bitch,
take my life now.
You've got more strings around here.
Thank you, Flow State, for curing my swollen prostate.
Oh, that's it. Oh my goodness, I can't. All right, guys, we're running at that 3-hour mark. I do want to start getting out of here, but I do got a bit of a question. So just I'm gonna try to ramp it back a little bit. This is funny, but
ram it back.
Forward, yeah, looking forward. What do you think that each of us can do personally to bring more civility into conversations? Because it seems like a lot of other people won't do it, but what could you do personally? Like, and how can we actually influence other people to do the same thing? Anyone? I'll let you guys all say it.
To bring more.
Go ahead.
To bring more what again? Sorry.
To bring more civility back into conversation, but also to encourage other people to do so. Yeah.
Civility. Gotcha. Just come to the table with an actual desire to break bread and drink wine with the person after the conversation, because it's fuck civility. How about that? I like being a dick sometimes. All right. Is that all right with you or what? They come out here to be nice. I want to come out here to be a dick.
Listen, there's plenty of people that want to do that. I mean, we're just gonna think that everybody's a dick. We're gonna go into our neighborhoods, bodegas, and fucking 7-Elevens, and everybody's being a dick because no one knows how to be nice. Customer service out the window. You walk in. I want to know where I can get queen size sheets. Fuck your queen size sheets. Like, what we gonna do now? Like,
guys started talking shit in the auto zone here last September on the freaking Labor Day weekend. Talking shit about some MAGA something or other, talking shit about Biden or something, and fucking, employee, shouldn't have been doing that in the first place. Customer looks up, fucking just drops the dude. Out of nowhere. Been working on a carburetor all day, he was pissed off.
That's how sensitive it is. Should have kept his fucking mouth shut.
Like.
Listen, we say 3 things in the industry. Don't talk about politics. Do not talk about religion. And don't talk about how much you make. Those 3 things can get you hurt. That's it.
Straight up. I think just having a defined expectation is kind of the key to a lot of these panels too. And I like what you're doing, with your half an hour, whatever, kind of pre-hand setting the tone.
Yes.
And not just opening up a panel and just letting everybody come up and spurg out and, having that.
Setting the groundwork for them. Yeah.
The best conversations come after we get heated usually.
That's correct. That
right? When you can control that
agree.
From the panel host being the first half an hour is allowing everybody to spurg out with the typewriters for a little while and then come on up and have a conversation. It seems to work a lot better.
I agree. I've seen that work really, really well. Locksmith, your thoughts?
Yeah, good convo is good, man, for real. I'm kind of a gentleman in a way. I let people try and get their shit off real quick. Well, actually, a lot of times it lags on for a long period of time, but that's cool. I'm respectful, but wherever I can interject, I'm totally cool with that. I don't mind fucking mixing shit up with people either. But most of the time, I just like having fun. That's just me. But when it comes to a serious conversation, like with the little Fox person, I'm a little more standoffish because of how my views are about situation that they always keep, or that always seems to keep coming up whenever that happens.
But, yeah, I know what you mean. What you mean. All right.
I don't like Ben Thorpe either.
Yeah. Well, first, you're becoming one of my favorite channels to participate and be there.
I appreciate that.
I think you're doing a great job, and anything I can do to make it bigger, higher, count me in, man. I'm there, and I'll be your resident Latin American in every sense of the word. And to my dear friend Locksmith, go get it checked out, my friend.
Hey, smell my finger.
That's the best. That is best to ask your doctor for you to smell his finger.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you guys a quick question. When you wipe your ass after you taking a shit, did any of you guys ever break through the toilet paper and maybe a little tip of finger might slip a little bit?
I am not answering that fucking question. What the fuck?
You shit in the toilet?
Locksmith, quick question.
Just dump it down with your feet.
Hold on, Locksmith.
Go ahead.
Quick question. Do you wipe north to south, or do you wipe south to north?
Front to back? Is that what you're asking? Front to back or back to front?
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, I got to keep my shit clean, so I'm going from front to back.
Front to back. Okay, that is where the major quantity studies have proven that the toilet paper can break, and then you can have a accidental spread of shit in your fingers.
So let me ask you guys this, and also the females that are in the chat. Okay, so and if a female wipes her front area, right, where she's done taking a leak, does she wipe from bottom to top or top to bottom?
That depends on where on the world they're at. Some
regions
will wipe from back to front.
Then let me ask you this, okay? You guys ever get a little bit of that clitty litter?
Kitty litter? What the fuck?
No. Clitty litter.
Clitty
when you go
litter?
down, when you go down on your old lady.
And the
right?
got toilet paper still there?
Yeah, a little bit of bits of toilet paper. Yeah, then you got to go.
Done.
Get that shit out.
I'm done. Guys, it was good talking to you. It was good. Get the fuck out. He called it clitty litter. Oh, no. Done. Oh, my gosh. I can't with this man, Locksmith. Look, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the episode. We are past our 3 3-hour mark. Let me know what you're thinking, especially in the comments section. What exactly do you think in terms of how we take civility? Is how we looking at it basically overrated, or is it a good key that we should still hold for conversation? I mean, I want you to remember that next time you get into your next heated discussion, take a second to actually breathe. Just take a moment to actually do that particular thing. And civility is all about really breaking down the conversation and actually just keeping that particular conversation alive. So I want you to remember that next time you're having a conversation with you and the person that you are having that particular deep discussion about. Until then, Take care of your loved one. Take care of yourself. And of course, as always, you guys stay opinionated. I'll see you in the next one.